Welcome everybody to the first episode of the GunPla Idea Factory podcast. We're episode 0 today, the origin, and the theme for today's episode is pilots for the pilot. But before that, we need to break the ice and introduce ourselves. So I'm going to hand it over to Jake. So carry on, Jake. Let's hear your story.
Everyone. This is Heavy Metal Gunpla, also known as Jake. What is up, people? Just hanging out and killing it with these fine two gentlemen.
So whereabouts in the world are you at the moment, Jake?
Of all places, the southern U.S. I am a hillbilly out here with my potatoes and chickens, plowing the fields. Yep. Just a regular hillbilly who just so happens to like the giant Japanese robots that stomp around and kill people. Remember, war is bad, kid.
Well, that's why we're all here, isn't it? Giant Japanese killer robots.
That war is bad,
That's
kid.
what brought us together.
Yeah, war is bad, but if you're going to war, take a robot.
Make sure it's cool doing it.
Yeah. Okay, so that's pretty cool. How about you, Trey? Do you want to introduce yourself and your handles as well?
For sure. It's Trey, aka your boy Creates, your boy _Creates, or your boy Trizzy, whichever one you guys prefer. Currently based in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, the only province in all of Canada that forces you to speak French. And yeah, kind of like everyone else, GunPla that brought us together, and we're here for the long haul, boys.
Epic stuff. That's it.
Join.
That's absolutely it. This is the first episode. I mean, we've been talking over this for, it's got to be over a month already. It's been a long time in the works. This is the start. We're going long. We're not going to give up or back out. It's just going to get bigger and bigger. So you're all here. Yeah. You're probably going to be seeing this from my channel. So for all of you who are coming from links or don't know me, my name's Dave. I'm currently in Thailand, but I'm a Brit. And GunPla's massive over here, hence it's sort of just infiltrated my life in a massive way and stole all my money. So it's nighttime for me and it's morning for them, so I'm looking a bit haggard and they're all looking bright as a daisy. So thank you guys, thank you so much for turning up today and actually making this happen. Couldn't do it without you. So let's carry on, is it? So should we just skip straight into the icebreaker questions? I think that's a pretty cool call. So my first one, which is basically going off of exactly what we were talking about a minute ago, is what got you into GunPla and how long ago was it? So it's a simple question that probably is going to get a very long answer from the pair of you, I expect.
Maybe. Trey, you want to go first, or you want me to go first on this one? What do you want?
Yeah, I'll take the lead. Okay. So what first originally got me into GunPla was, as a kid, watching anime. My first Gundam anime was Gundam Wing. And me being a 90s baby, that was what was airing at the time. And I had this childish dream of, I always wanted to build a Gundam. And I mean the whole 100-foot kid. I was going to be the first engineer, a typical childish dream. I even enrolled in engineering for that purpose in a college in Ontario. And that, I don't know, with the path of life, that kind of faded out. And then fast forward to 2020, during the coronavirus lockdowns and everything, here was pretty intense in terms of lockdown. So I was an essential worker, so I still had to go to the job, but I also had a ton of free time. So I decided let me just stop in at a hobby store, just pick something up, build something. And my first ever kit was the Strike Freedom right here. And wow. That was, I believe, around March or April 2020, and then, it just exploded to to all of this, and I've been in the hobby ever since. And I got what made me decide to go public with my GunPla was I just wanted to share my creativity with the world and see what else, like who else I could inspire with my creativity, and meet people who can inspire me in turn.
Well, that's great. I'm glad you have shared, because it's definitely cool seeing what you're doing, and everyone can get a little glimpse if they have a little look down there in the corner at what you're currently doing, can't they?
Yeah, I have some line arts of some future projects that I'm keeping under wraps still with some collaborators who may or may not be in this chat. I'm also, kind of teasing off one project that I put on ice just because of burnout. And yeah, that's it.
Cool stuff. Well, I'll be asking you more about that little guy later, though. So yeah, let's hear it, Jake. How did you become this wealth of knowledge that we all know?
Oh Jesus! Much like Trey, in the very beginning, it was '90s Toonami, Gundam Wing kicked off, or maybe it was 8th Team. I can't remember. It was one of them. But yeah, saw it on TV, and much like Dragon Ball Z, it was, oh my God, this is amazing. My 8-year-old mind can't comprehend. From there it just took off. Had the action figures as a kid. I think I even got the old crappy high grades. The no grade 1/144 scales. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Seen them before.
Yeah. I don't remember how I built them. I do know how I built them. I twisted them out of the runners. Don't ever do that. Disclaimer, don't ever do that. It only ends bad. From there, I fell off after a while, just growing up, losing interest in things and everything. Then, I think, what was it, sometime in my teens, I think I got into Zeta. Whenever it had its initial English release, and thought it was really cool. Kind of fell off a little bit after graduating high school, get into college for a little while, and then got back into it about 2014. I think it was 2014, 2015, and yeah, it took off ever since then. I started doing Instagram because a friend of mine said, this stuff is really good that you do. You should put it on Instagram, let people see it. And I was like, what? No, what are you talking about? Because, hillbilly, living out here in the woods. Well, sure enough, I was like, okay, why not? Made an Instagram, tried to stay with it, fell off a couple times, and here we are.
Again,
finally got around to sticking with it.
Again, glad you really have, because tons of stuff. I shoot you questions all the time, and it's great to have someone who actually knows, you've got questions and you can get an answer. It's really good. Thanks, mate.
Don't mind that, dude. Literally, I'm like, what was that quote from Spider-Man? I think it was Homecoming, where he's like, "I'm the guy in the chair." Yeah, that's
oh yes.
If any of you guys have questions, I'll just pull it up and be like, "Okay, so here's your answer."
Yeah, it's got like a whole binder on the side, just full of GunPla answers.
I literally just pull out my phone and okay.
No, this is a lie. This is definitely a lie, because I've seen how long it takes him to respond, and he's not looking anything up. It's coming straight from the brain.
Some of it, yes. It just depends on what it is. Now, certain things, it's like, hey, wait a minute, I've got to fact check myself. Okay, I know that it's something like this, but don't quote me on it.
Unless it's Exia related. Okay, well, me.
Unless it's Exia or a 000.
If it's Exia related, I can spout that off from memory.
You're going to crucify me for this, but I still haven't seen it. I still haven't even dipped my toes into it. It's almost an impenetrable wall. I think this is where a lot of newcomers sort of get put off as well, isn't it? With just the sheer amount.
Most people hear 0 has aliens in it, and then they're just like, what the, no. Why the fuck would I want to watch that? That's not Gundam. And it's like, yeah, it is. Just watch it. Pay attention to it. Don't
just
cut
give
it on
a chance. That's all it is.
Yeah. Don't cut it on as background noise. Pay attention to it, and, go from there.
It'd be cool if we saw some of the aliens as actual GunPla models. That'd be cool. Do they do anything like that? Planosaurus.
I don't know. We might be getting into Zoids territory at that point.
Oh, okay. I'll have to watch it and then keep watching. In 12 months, I'll know what I'm talking about. Okay. Anyway,
I would say watch the movie, but that's at the end of the series,
Yeah.
so don't spoil yourself with that.
well, it can't be worse than Eva, can it? Evangelion. You could start at the beginning and still not know where you're at. So.
That's true. That's very true.
Anyway, as for me, as a lot of people have done, actually, I actually come from Warhammer. So as a kid, growing up in the UK, Warhammer was the thing. And I sort of went through the phases of 40k, then into Lord of the Rings when the films came out, and then back to 40k again. And as with all of you, as you get older, you just sort of get interested in different things. You don't want to spend your money on plastic models. And when I came to Thailand, I had a bit of an abundance of time to myself, and it's everywhere here. I was in Japan back in 2017, and I would say there's more GunPla here than there is in Japan, both stock-wise and just prevalence. It's everywhere. We've got statues, we've got billboards. It's pretty big here. It's surprisingly big. I don't know if it's. No, I was just filming me from the corner. I don't know if it's as prevalent in every household as Japan, but in terms of advertisement and the push, it's definitely everywhere here. So I just thought of, I saw the big, I don't know what scale it is, but it's the one that's about 2 stories high. So it's about as high as a 2-story building. There's one in Bangkok. And I saw the statue, and I was like, you know what, this looks really cool. So I went into the store and had a look around, and my mind was just blown. Ended up buying like a little SD and hating it, but loving GunPla. So I just sort of watched a few videos and heard RGs were the place to be. So jumped headfirst into RGs to realise they're the most annoying and infuriating thing that God ever created. And then went into MGs, and my money's gone now. My money's totally gone.
Wait till you get into high grades. You think your money's gone now.
Oh.
Just wait.
I've got my high grade poison.
variety.
I've got my high grade poison. The Witch from Mercury stuff tickles my high grade.
Dude, you pretty much have the entire series.
Yeah, I think you do, actually.
I haven't got the new Demi that's come out in Japan, and I haven't got that Schwarzette. Is it Schwarzette, or is it the other one, Gunvolva? I don't know. I haven't got the new Gundam and the Demi Barding, so one of those I'm very upset about not owning.
I think both of those are actually about to drop right now. I saw something earlier.
They came out.
The Barding and the was it Gundova? The bit thing?
Yeah, the bit one, the drone.
I think they were about to drop.
Yeah, I think they dropped.
All I want from Witch from Mercury is Master Grade Demi Trainer Choo-Choo's version. That's it. That's all I want.
Yeah.
I keep saying that. I'm gonna preach that. That's it. That's all I want.
Yeah, I'd sign that petition. With money.
Yeah.
That thing is a cool suit. Really cool suit.
Yes.
I don't know. They might have to make a conversion kit to make it a Delanza Soul, and then I might sign
Delanza
it.
Soul. You know what? Have they got one? Have they got like a
Bandai.
P Bandai? Paint it black or make it clear and make it P Bandai.
Ooh, clear would be nice.
Clear Demi. If they did an inner frame, that would be cool. Yeah. Anyway, we'll talk more about that on the news section. I think the new releases. We'll jump into our next bit, which is getting to know us a little bit personally about what we like outside of Gundam, because I think it's sort of pop culture related. I mean, it's sort of infiltrated pop culture now. What would have 10 years ago been called geek culture or nerd culture, or the stuff that you'd be scared to show your friends growing up if you were a 90s kid like us, it's kind of just normal pop culture now. So I thought we'd just have a little chat about what else we're interested in. That way, if we draw parallels in the future, people know where we're coming from, because there's a lot that I see in other mediums that I think, oh yeah, that's definitely pulled an idea from Gundam, or Gundam's pulled an idea from there. So I think it would be very good for our audience to get to know us a little bit better that way. So the things that I've got listed down, if you guys have got the list as well, is is non-Gundam TV show, film, band / music, and video game franchise, along with anything else you want to throw in that you sort of want to plug or how can I put it? Let people know about.
Okay. Jake, do you want to start this one off since I started off the last one?
Sure. Yeah, I'll take it. So, TV show. I don't really watch TV, to be honest, anymore. I mean, I think the last series I really watched to completion was probably, it was on streaming, but I guess Game of Thrones.
All right.
That was the last one.
That's enough to put anyone off that last season.
Actually, I take that back. I did watch House of the Dragon.
Oh shit! 1 minute, guys.
Oops.
End the podcast.
End the And this is why my AirPods don't work.
Anyway, where were we?
House of the Dragon.
Oh, yeah,
favorite TV show.
Yeah, House of the Dragon was actually the last thing I watched fully to completion. That's not like an anime or Gundam related or anything like that.
Well, it could be anime.
Meaning to. I think. Well, no, I can't say Witch of Mercury because it's still ongoing, and it's Gundam.
And it's Gundam related, so.
Yeah, and it's Gundam. But yeah, House of the Dragon was like the last legitimate thing I finished, and it was good. It was good. It's got potential, but I'm not gonna hold my breath. And of course, you guys know why.
Yeah.
I've actually never watched Game of Thrones or anything related, so don't crucify me, guys.
No, it started strong, and then it just got into like what the hell's going on territory really fast.
Yeah, I think they dove into the fan service a bit much towards the end as well.
As for movies, I don't know. I'm all over the spectrum when it comes to, like favorite movies or something. I love the MCU stuff, but it's not very often I actually go to the theater or cinema anymore to see something. I think the last thing I actually went to like pay and go see was Cocaine Bear, just because of how absurdly
oh my
silly
goodness
it was. Yeah. I said to myself when I watched the trailer, I was like, I'm gonna go pay to see that just because of how silly it looks.
I haven't seen
course,
it, but that name, I'm going to have to look it up after this.
Oh, yeah, no, look it up.
I've only seen the trailer, so.
Now. I think it's actually on streaming.
I remember that came out a while ago.
What was it? I think it's Peacock. The streaming service, Peacock, I think, has it now. I'm not sure. But, segueing over to bands and music, it's in my handle. Heavy metal.
Let's go.
But, I'll listen to any genre of music. I really do not care unless it is gospel, because, yes, I'm a godless heathen.
Have you seen my story recently?
Yeah, like I said, I don't do that, but, and then anything new age, like new age country music or new age rap, I can't. I can't do it. I'm sitting here going, this is what they call music now? Even new metal stuff, I'm sitting here going, this is what they call music? Why is he screaming like that? Just no, you don't scream. You can, but it just. I think video games. What, David?
I think it's an age thing as well. I think we get to an age where everything's just sort of better that we used to listen to before. Or perhaps I'm the old man in the chat, but I feel that way sometimes. I feel like, man, it was better in the old days.
Okay. For the listeners that can't see our video feeds, the side of my head, you guys see that, right?
Oh yeah, I got enough of my own.
That is Mr. Fantastic salt and pepper gray hair. Trust me, I am. Anything.
I haven't hit any grades yet.
Yeah, it's. I'm the old man sitting there going, in my day, it was better this way. Shut up, Grandpa.
In my day, we only dropped the A.
Yeah, it's like, in my day, we didn't wear skinny jeans and jump around on stage and be seen and all that. It was scary.
You're nailing that old man voice. I'm getting that old man from SpongeBob SquarePants, man. That old fish with the cane.
Yes. Also, possible disclaimer: I will probably just casually flow into another impersonation throughout the podcast. So you guys are all.
Oh, dude. That's what's up. As long as you keep it spicy, man, we're good.
And then, what was the last thing for this topic, David? Video games
And anything else you sort of want to share with the world that you enjoy, that sort of thing. I mean, they're just the things that I think are sort of Gundam adjacent.
Yeah, like just popular right now. As for games, I've been playing Skyrim.
Is it still buggy?
Who doesn't play Skyrim? Yeah, it's still buggy, but I'm waiting on Spider-Man 2 to drop.
That does look
I
good.
don't know if you guys saw the PlayStation showcase for that. Spider-Man 2 looks amazing. What else is there that's coming out soon? I'm not a huge Metal Gear fan or Final Fantasy, so it just...
Oh, he's getting kicked.
Eject him.
Get rid of him. Who's this guy?
Hey,
Oh, you let us down, Jake.
of all things that they never got me with, Final Fantasy, Zelda is another one that has no...
Okay, I'm with you on Zelda.
I like Majora's Mask. I really dug Majora's Mask.
I don't mind it. I'm not huge into it. It's like Harry Potter, there are people out there that live and breathe Harry Potter that are weird about it, and it's like, no, it's okay, but
I think the only Zelda game I ever played was Ocarina of Time on N64. So that right there, that shows our age at the same time.
Yeah. I actually remember trying to get into it by playing Ocarina of Time, and I was just like, I'm confused. I don't know what's going on. But now looking back at it, it's like I wouldn't mind giving it a shot from like the very beginning. I don't know that I would have the patience anymore to go through like the NES stuff. Like Legend of Zelda.
I actually think the SNES
Bird's
stuff.
eye view,
I think the SNES stuff has actually held it better, like A Link from the Past. I think it's actually held it better than some of the N64 stuff, because things that were kind of obvious to us in the 90s, like where to go or what doors open and what doors are just background images, I've totally forgotten that stuff. I've tried playing some of that stuff from the N64, and it's like, where do I go? Who do I talk to? Is this door? Why doesn't this door open?
Yeah, I think that was probably why I couldn't get into it. I'm just like, what's going on? Meanwhile, and then I'd be like, okay, I'm going to go back to playing Star Fox or Super Mario or...
Do a barrel roll.
Mario Kart or Super Smash Brothers or something.
Okay, I respect that.
But yeah, that, there for a long time, I was really into the gaming scene in my, like, late teens, early 20s. Trey, I know you know what I'm talking about. Call of Duty's heyday, Xbox 360,
Dude, Modern Warfare, the original 1, 2, and 3 were the games for that generation, I find.
Yep, that was the
amount of hours.
You're all babies jumping in Modern Warfare. You don't remember Call of Duty 2 or Call of Duty 3 before that?
Oh no, I do.
No,
I do.
It was a multiplayer.
I was there.
I was there.
3,000 years ago.
Oh, you beat me to it.
We were there for the World at War.
Yes. Actually, I think I had one Call of Duty for PlayStation 2. Back when I still had a PlayStation 2.
They were not nice ports.
Oh no, they weren't.
No, they weren't. I think for me back in those days, it was more like Medal of Honor. You guys remember Medal of Honor on PS2?
Yeah.
When you had to get that like external adapter just to connect to the internet, just to get like taste of the multiplayer. That was where it began for your boy.
Yep, I remember that big fat brick that you had to tack onto the back of the brick that was the PS2.
Yep.
We're going to have to do a game special, I think, guys. I think we're going to have to divert this into a GunPla Idea Factory video game special or something where we just deep dive into video games, because I think we all got a lot to talk about with that side of things as well.
Oh, I agree.
Well, it seems like we are all
with
products
that.
of the products
PlayStation
of the
generation. Those Wipeout
I was
ads.
actually looking for a PlayStation shirt to wear. Oh, dude, Wipeout! I hated that game on PSP. I'm sorry, but I don't mean to digress. But yeah.
Oh no! If you guys want to cut in, go for it. I don't want to take the spotlight on this one by any means. In fact, let's just have you take over now.
All right, no, not an issue. So, favorite non-Gundam TV show. I'm just gonna lead with this one statement, and I'm willing to fight you guys on this. Aaron did nothing wrong.
I would not know because I have not finished Attack on Titan.
What?
Yep.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Okay. Let me explain. Let me clarify. I remember when the anime started. I watched the first season. Thought that's really awesome. I want to see more of this. When season 2? And then all of a sudden it was like 3 years later. Where's season 2? 5 years later. Where's season 2? Okay, I'm done. I'll come back once they figure out what they're doing.
Yeah, dude, it was a nasty wait between season 1 and season 2. I think it was like 8 or 9 years in between the seasons, but the manga was still ongoing, so they wanted time to like catch up and not do like what Naruto or Boruto was criminally guilty of, was just fillers, right? So. Yeah, so they just waited for the source material to pile up and like build up and everything. And I believe the manga finished, I think it was about 2 years ago at this point. And now we're waiting for the final
movie. Season, part 7.
Yeah, exactly, dude. But that last movie special, that's apparently what they're going to do. It's going to adapt the last 5 volumes, volume 131 to 134 inclusively. And that's supposedly going to drop in October, so I'm patiently waiting for that. But I don't really watch a lot of TV shows, like live action. I stick mostly to anime and all that. Attack on Titan, Demon Slayer, a spicy one, a nice psychological thriller, Psycho-Pass. I highly recommend checking that out. Like, I like that psychological thriller stuff that really gets you thinking,
Have you seen Monster?
Steins Gate as well. No, it's on my list. I have it, like, I'm currently rewatching AO2
You're getting
with
kicked
the
too.
girlfriend.
Eject.
Don't worry, dude. It's right next on my list, because I know Johan, he's pretty badass, like, he up there, man. I really want to watch it. So, the one thing, though, is that I don't want him to dethrone my favorite antagonist, who is Shogo Makishima from Psycho-Pass, and I have a feeling that the way that it's going to go, he's going to dethrone him like nobody's business.
He's an interesting guy,
and
but... Sorry, man. He's an interesting guy, but I think it's just the twists and turns that story takes. If it follows the manga pretty religiously, because I haven't seen the anime, but if it follows the manga, it's more about the twists and turns of the story than the actual antagonist himself.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So that's definitely like next on my list. Also, like, I kind of prefer not like the old stuff, but kind of like I'm gonna call them like, let's call it the middle-aged stuff. So kind of like the stuff that was airing between like 2008 to like maybe like say 2015, 2016. So like pretty much like Psycho-Pass. What else was I watching around then? It's non Gundam related, so I can't say like That's kind of tricky because I do watch a lot of mecha stuff as well, like Gurren Lagann. Yeah, just kind of stuff like that for TV shows. In terms of films, Interstellar is my most favorite movie ever. Christopher Nolan is like a top tier like filmographer. I love his work. Starting from The Dark Knight, the Dark Knight trilogy, Interstellar. I'm really looking forward to Oppenheimer.
Yes.
Oppenheimer, his new one coming out.
Yeah,
that's gonna be bonkers. And that was actually so I was on YouTube a couple days ago, and there's YouTube is criminal for airing ads before your videos, and I saw Cillian Murphy like right off the jump of an ad, and instantly, like 2 seconds into that ad, I knew it was a Christopher Nolan flick, because when I was studying photography, I was studying a lot of his movies like alongside that course for like just to see like flavors of his color grading, et cetera, et cetera. And instantly, because I studied Nolan's films, I knew it was a new Nolan film, and I'm like, okay, so I'm definitely watching this ad. That was like the first time in maybe about like 5 or 6 years that I didn't skip an ad on YouTube. So I'm looking forward to that. The only Christopher Nolan movie that I have not seen that recently dropped was probably Dunkirk, because I'm not a fan of kind of war movies like Saving Private Ryan, those kind of like period pieces, let's say. Band music wise, I'm in love with Cold Rain. I don't know if you guys know Cold Rain, but they're I don't want to say they're like a Japanese Linkin Park, but if you guys have ever seen Fire Force, the anime, or Enen no Shubutai, that's the Japanese name.
Yeah, Cold Rain.
They did the second.
Didn't they do the opening for Bastard?
Yes, that's them.
Okay,
that's them. Bloody Power of Fame was the name of the song that was the opening. So they're like hands down my favorite band. It's weird because a lot of people, when they see me like in public, they would assume that I'm more of like the rap, hip hop, and everything. But as soon as people would like get into my car or I drive past them, all you hear is like rock just blasting out of the speakers, or like just like anime music. They're like shocked. They're like I'll be driving down the street. Yeah, exactly. Like, I'll be just driving down the street, and then you hear like Lisa playing like Rising Hope or something from Sword Art, and then people would just be like shocked because it's like the demeanor, what people see is not what they get with me. You know, it's like it's like I'm a bag of tricks. So for music, like even my coworkers too. Like the first time. Like some of the new coworkers saw me, they're like, "Oh, this dude, he definitely smokes pot and this and that." And like, I'm like, "No, dude, I don't do any of that stuff. I'm like a straight arrow. I just go to work, come home, build my GunPla, play some rock, play some video games. Just typical average dude, man." So yeah, that's it for music and game franchise. As we know in this chat, but not our viewers. Final Fantasy, all the way. I'm currently waiting for my 16 pre-order to show up, which should be in like the next week or so, because June 22nd release date. Square Enix sponsor this chat. So Final Fantasy series, the Final Fantasy series. Also, like Jake, I'm waiting for Spider-Man 2 to drop on PlayStation. What else? That Rebirth trailer that was announced during Summer Game Fest. Fun fact about that: I was actually like I had no idea that the Summer Game Fest aired. I think it was on Wednesday. So I get to work on Thursday, and the first thing I see when I open YouTube was the Rebirth trailer. And instantly, I was about to send David a message. I was like, dude, did you see that? But this guy beat me to it. I saw like 4 hours ago. He sent me the message. Dude, did you see the Rebirth trailer? I'd had to delete my entire geeked out message. I was like, damn it. But dude, my mind was blown. The fact that it's like, okay, I'm a little bit annoyed that it's probably going to be like a PlayStation exclusive for like the first year, so not everyone can experience it day one. That's my one beef with exclusivity. Sorry,
You just got to think though. It puts a lot of money. It puts a lot of money into the developers' pocket, so they can actually inject that into the game, though. So there is that about it. So I mean, I'm playing on PC at the moment, so I'm a bit sad about it. But if it makes a better final product, I'm all for it.
I agree with that.
How much of that's microtransactions too?
Actually, I don't think. I highly doubt that 7 Rebirth is going to have any microtransactions, because for the first one, for remake, the only thing that really like cost money outside the base game was just a DLC. And like, yeah, sure, there was some things that you could get, like some accessories, maybe or whatever. But the thing is that they were kind of like exclusive. So like, for example, say you bought the PlayStation version, you would get access to like a couple items. You bought you pre-ordered it at Best Buy, then they would give you like a code for something else. You pre-ordered it at GameStop, a code for something else. But a year later, I think it was, when they released it on PC, they pretty much made all that stuff free. And when they released the Integrate version, which was basically the base game remake plus the Integrate DLC, it came with like everything. So it's like, if you're just patient and you just wait it out after that exclusivity period is like is over, then it's all about patience. You're gonna get pretty much everything at one bundled cost. Like Destiny is a prime example of that. That's another game I'm deep into. The latest expansion just dropped, I think it was the end of February, Lightfall, and it was pretty much the price of not a full game, but it was near up there. It was about like 60, 70 Canadian. And for days of play, one of Sony's I think the sale went live right after the showcase. It was on sale for like maybe like 40 or 50% off, so I snagged that for like 30 Canadian. So again, that's only a few months old, so it just comes down to patience. If you just wait, chances are you're going to be able to lock whatever in that you're waiting for at either a reduced price or maybe even a free if you're lucky.
Yeah, that's something I've learned from my stepdad over the years, because him and my mom, they do gaming on PC and stuff, and it's like, he would always tell me, why are you buying that as soon as it comes out? Just wait like a month.
Yeah,
it'll be $10 off. Of course, I was a teenager,
only thing,
like, you don't know what you're talking about.
Like the only things I don't wait for is just Final Fantasy. Like that I would pre-order, so I get that MF day one, man. Anything else, I'm willing to wait the few months to a year.
I'm pretty much in that boat at the moment. I'm pretty much in the boat. I'm just like, the retail cost of games, I think, is silly considering how much they were on the previous generation, and knowing that, like you said, in 3 months' time they'll be back down to normal.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Exactly. So, David, it is now your turn. I'm pointing up here because that's where you're on my screen.
Pointing a Jake on mine, so it's all good.
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is David. I don't sound British, but
Neither do I. I think it's a mix of everything and everywhere. I don't really have an accent, I don't think.
No, I can hear it. I can hear it.
If it is, it's not a nice posh one. It's not a nice posh one if it is one. So
That's the thing. You don't.
It's pretty good sounding. It's better than mine.
Yeah, that's the thing. You don't know what you sound like. No one really knows what they sound like until they hear it in a recording, like later down the line.
I was starting this YouTube channel. I just skip through it all. I hate seeing myself. I hate hearing myself. It's awful. I just spend too much time behind the camera.
I'm going to dread whenever this comes out because I'm going to listen to it and I'm going to sit there and go, oh, God, what do I say?
Oh, dude, I'm sharing the shit out of this podcast, man. Everyone has to hear this.
Boys get just as much, get your flowers just as much as I will for it, but I'm going to sit here and go, oh, God, I sound terrible. Why am I doing this? Let's do it again.
Okay. Anyway, I'm going to try and have a go. Because like I said, I do think it's just more adjacent and get to know us. So TV show wise, I'm pretty much the same. I'm neck deep in Gundam at the moment. I just finished Ep.0, which I'll probably talk about a little later in our pilots for the pilot segment. I've actually caught up on Witch from Mercury today. I'm presuming you guys haven't seen it yet, being early morning.
No, actually.
No, it just dropped for me.
You're going to enjoy it.
Okay, so I'm the only one that's behind.
You're going to...
I got caught up like right before we started. I finished the last episode like 30 minutes before.
Oh,
because that's
nice.
What a killer. Anyway, I'll leave it there.
Yeah, so, please. We'll talk about this in the DMs after.
Yeah, TV show-wise, I'm big into the anime stuff, but mainly the stuff that isn't, because I'm a big manga man, so if it's from the manga, I tend to have read the manga already and then don't jump into it. But anime-wise, I absolutely love Cyberpunk Edge Runners, is it? I forget the name. Have you guys seen it, the Cyberpunk?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was fantastic.
No, I have not.
I started it,
but I haven't seen it.
Oh, it's the end that makes it. It's a little bit like Ep.0. It's all the stuff that happens is a massive payoff at the end. Really massive payoff at the end.
Okay.
But I haven't finished it. I started it. I think I'm just over halfway through it, but I know the ending. So I mean, it's one of those that it's just like, okay, cool.
I think it's one of those things where you can know the ending, but if you haven't experienced the journey as well, it's not as impactful, even though it is a bit. I mean, saying it's like Ep.0 is spoiler enough, isn't it?
Yeah. Question: does it tie into the game at all, or no? It's completely like self-contained.
Yeah, Adam Smash is in it.
The main villain of the show. Just kind of like the game, I guess. I mean, he's not really that big in the game, but he's a lot more prevalent in the show.
Okay, because I haven't played the game either. Because I remember when it released, like it was just riddled with bugs. So I kind of deviated away from playing it.
You gotta get on it, dude. It's really good.
Yeah.
I would not say you should listen to people on that because I played it on release. Like I bought it day one and
it was rough on day one. It was a good game. Like it was there, but it
was there and it was buggy, but it wasn't as bad as people made it out to be.
It was the low resolution textures for me. It was like you would jump in from games like.
You played it on PC?
No, I was PS5. Most of my games was actually Series X back then, but I didn't bring them over to Thailand with me.
Oh, okay.
But I think I played it on PS. Was it PS4 or was it PS5 when it came out? Because I can remember getting it on Series X and playing it again on Series X, and then thinking to myself, "Wow, this is what it was meant to be like. This is how I should have played it to begin with." Because on Series X, it was flawless and it was fantastic. The story and the characters really shone through on that. Yeah,
I would definitely.
Okay, because I remember it was one of the early cross-platforms.
Oh, it could have been because I can remember it was about the time that the Modern Warfare remake and Shadow of the Tomb Raider came out, and I was jumping from Shadow of the Tomb Raider and Modern Warfare and into this game which had like super low resolution textures, and I was like, wow, okay, and that was a bit of a pill to swallow at the time. But yeah, the game was there. It was 100% there. Just needed a bit of a spit shine and a bit more power behind it, I think.
Okay, noted. All right, I'm gonna put that on my wish list on the PSN store.
Yeah, man. I think it's cheap anyway. Most of the time, it's always got money off.
If CD
it's been out for a few years now, so
if CD Projekt Red would have waited and put it out on Series X and PS5, it would have been perfect. Like it would have been fine.
Okay. Nice. Sorry, David, I didn't mean to digress from that. But yeah, you were saying Edge Runners.
Edge Runners, absolutely fantastic show. It's one of them ones where it's the payoff is worth the build up. So stick with it, and
Nice.
yeah, it's worth it for those like last 2 episodes. 'Cause it's only a short one. It's not too long. I watched it in a night. I watched it in a I sat down, put it on, and by the time the night was over, it was finished. Other than that,
Nice.
TV shows. One that stuck with me that I really enjoy is Mad Men. Have any of you guys seen Mad Men?
I've been meaning
No, I
to watch
haven't.
it.
Okay,
Like I wanted to watch it back when it was still on Netflix. But
fair enough.
I never got around to it.
Well, I'll just say for the people who don't know, or for the people who do know and are going, yes, Mad Men. I come from sort of like the photography and filmography side of it, and just seeing the equipment they use and how they replicate that like 60s, 70s look, using different films and also the different audio equipment as well, which is one of the major factors in how that show feels. I think they recorded it on tape. It's got that very warm audio compared to the very compressed digital audio that a newer film would have, and it just shines along with the wardrobe department, everything from the clothes to the watches they wear to the cars they use. It's stunning. There's nothing that takes you out of that world. I thought it was absolutely brilliant to just go in and sort of sit with an open mind and think, wow, okay, this is kind of how the world was when my dad was around. I think perhaps that's one of the reasons why I enjoyed it as well, maybe. But yeah, that's stuck with me for a long time, that series. And where are we next
Nice.
after that? So after that, film, isn't it? So I have one definitive favourite film above all else, and that's Lost in Translation. Have either of you guys seen Lost in Translation? Sophia
I've heard
I
Coppola.
saw it years ago, man.
Oh, man.
Oh man, it's a good film, Jake. You should check it out.
I'll
Yeah.
have to find it if it's on streaming. Then again, I might have to, put on the eye patch.
I think it's
Yeah.
got some of the best acting from Scarlett Johansson and also Bill Murray as well. I think that some of the best acting I've ever seen in my life, and the feel of the film. I'm a big traveller. I've travelled ever since I was a kid because my dad travelled for work, and we've been to and from the UK and Thailand, being based in both countries. And it nails that feeling of just being a fish out of water so well. And Japan as well, having been to Japan, I've been to a lot of countries, and most places, as long as you speak English, you're okay. But in Japan, it's just like a solid brick wall that you come up against, and it nails that feeling fine of just being like, what the hell is going on? Where am I? What is my life looking like? And yeah, it's 2 hours of just being confused with them. Brilliant. So yeah, I definitely recommend that one. And if you haven't seen it in a while, Jake, Trey, then I think it's worth a rewatch as well, because as time goes on and as you're older, it sort of hits different to when you're younger. Because I watched it as a teenager, because it was one of those ones where it was like recommended, one of those films that everyone had to watch, along with No Country for Old Men, that sort of stuff. And I ended up watching that and just fell in love with it.
That was
I think I
they're right
I've
about
seen
that.
Lost in Translation pop up on Prime, so I think it's there for me. So I'll later on today I'll browse Prime, and I'll put it back on the watch list.
I saw it too, Trey.
Yeah, man, you should.
Okay.
You should. This is where I put a censorship over the audio, where I said you should watch it whilst you do, and then the next thing you're about to do. So. Break out that GunPla, right? And just put it on in the background. So what's next after that? Music and bands. So again, it's one of those things where since I've come to Thailand, I've sort of fallen off it because there's not so much of a scene like it is in the UK here. But I'm big into the heavy metal scene, like extreme metal as well. I'm not into that sort of, it's got guitars. No. Have a look on my Instagram, guys, if you haven't, and you'll see what I'm talking about. I'm all for it. I'm all for that. I'm still think it's all about that anti-establishment, that freedom, that rock and roll is kind of sort of sold commercially now. I think that extreme metal still has it. I think they still, whether it comes from a good place or a bad place, that's for other people to decide. But I'm happy that it's still there and people are still trying to vocalize their thoughts and their feelings and want change as well. So I really like that sort of stuff. My favorite band is probably Behemoth. I don't know if you guys know Behemoth or Nurgle, the front man. Definitely worth looking up. Even if you don't like the music, what Nurgle does is insane. He's having a lot of trouble in Poland at the moment with like Christianity defamation laws and stuff like that. But he's a solid guy. He's an absolute solid guy. He's got businesses in Poland, and he's very vocal about the community and everything. So he's someone that I sort of look at with what's the word, aspiration, I suppose, to go through that and have people attack you constantly, yet still remain in your home country and still remain doing what you're doing. I think that, hats off to him, definitely. But I guess that's
props, dude.
Yeah, man. So definitely check them out if you get a minute. Like I said, even if you don't like the music, even if it's a bit much for you, which it is for a lot of people. I'm not saying it is much for you, but for everyone watching, just check out his story and see what he's doing, and form your own opinions with what information you can get. But I think he's a top fella, and my hat's off to him. So yeah, that's the sort of stuff I like. And then on to game franchises. So I think we could be here for another sort of hour if I started talking about games. So what I will say is I'll probably echo what has been said. Final Fantasy VII was the game for me growing up. I think that the message that they delivered again stuck with me. We're killing the planet is kind of right in here, and seeing I don't know if you guys know about it, but in Chiang Mai every year they burn the fields to try and propagate new crops and get the soil back to health. But because it's in a basin, they have terrible basically carbon poisoning in the atmosphere from the trucks, the diesel, as well as the burn of the fields, and it's literally lethal. It's literally lethal, and no one's talking about it. And seeing that and seeing it as being a real thing. I was there, I think it was 2018 or early 2019. I was there whilst they were doing the burning of the fields, and it was black outside in the day, and it was seeping through your windows. It was that bad. So a lot of people say climate change isn't real, or this isn't real, or that's just made up. Like, seeing it in person, there's no way I can refute that argument anymore. So Final Fantasy VII's a big one. Not to get off topic and get all hippie Greenpeace, but Final Fantasy VII, the message behind that game, I think
just resonates with you more.
It always has.
Peace, though. We live on this planet. We may as well try to take care of it. Why not?
Well, that's a good attitude to have. Do the best we can, isn't it? I'm not asking people to change the way they live, but if we can just be a bit more thoughtful about how we do things, I think that if everyone just is a little bit more thoughtful within themselves, I think the world could change, definitely. Which I think is also a message of Final Fantasy as well. I think if you can change yourself, if you can look inwards, then it'll affect outwards. That's one of the reasons why I love Final Fantasy. It's not just a game where you stick it on and you fight your enemies and you level up and you get the cool sword. You do all that stuff, but there's so much more. Even if you just stand still and listen to the music, it just washes over you. And Metal Gear Solid as well was a big one for me. Aside from Solid Snake being the coolest guy ever, also again it's that sort of even though they're the best at what they do, they're kind of out of IBO. I suppose this runs into IBO. Even though they're the best at what they do, they sort of fish out of water. As soon as you take a gun out of their hands, they don't know what to do with themselves. And Metal Gear Solid 2, a lot of people hate on Raiden, but I think his story was probably the most impactful out of the lot, especially with his conversations to Rose, where she says, like, when I first met you and I walked into your apartment and all you had was a mattress on a floor and a wooden chair, and it's like, it makes you really think that outside of battle, outside of what purpose someone else has given him, he's no one, he's not even a human. And I think that's something that carries over into Gundam. I think it's something that carries over into the cyberpunk genre as a whole, which is something that I'm very, very big on as well. And I'll keep it there because we will set up a game-focused podcast if you guys are up for it, and we'll just talk for an hour and a half straight about the games that we love. Last one, have to mention it. You mentioned Destiny, Halo. Absolutely love Halo. Bungie Halo.
Yes.
I'm so glad they stopped.
Yeah, the original.
I'm so glad they stopped making them after Reach. I'm so glad that there's no other Halo games after Reach. Headcanon that.
Yeah, because after
343, I don't know what they're doing.
No. They definitely stopped making them after Reach, guys. No.
the rest don't exist.
I don't know what those other things that they keep trying to promote now are.
Yeah, but seeing Marathon on that PlayStation update, seeing that little teaser for Marathon, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Marathon at all.
I'm not. I didn't know it was a thing until after the showcase, and then I followed up on YouTube on one of my Destiny YouTubers, Rick Kakis. He actually mentioned that Marathon was an old Bungie IP. So then that got me a bit more interested into it.
Yeah, it warms my heart that they still have that IP.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of similarities between Marathon and Halo.
Yeah, a lot of stuff, especially in the second one, Durandal, isn't it, that gets sort of tied into Reach and stuff, but I don't know if they're going to go that route, but it's just nice to see them actually still own the IP. I didn't know they still own that IP, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that most of the actual team is still there, so if they can get the same heads working on it, then I think only good things are going to come from that.
Yeah, with what they know now, and all the stuff that they learned over the years, I don't doubt that they're gonna implement everything that they learned and make it if not a AAA game, at least a AA or single A. I feel like it's gonna be.
It's gonna be some sort of battery.
It'll be one of those underdog sleeper titles, most definitely.
I think they could come back after. I think Destiny, in some ways, left a bit of a sour taste in people's mouths. So I think they could definitely come back from that. They're a solid studio. I don't think there's anything technically wrong with Destiny. I think they just put all their eggs in this one basket that they thought was going to be the future of gaming, which turned out to be something that was divisive in the fan base, especially because they're not known for that beforehand. So that's my opinions on that.
Yeah, I agree with you. Destiny at time, even though it's one of my most played games, I've logged at least 1,000 hours in that game from going back to PS4. But I'm not gonna lie, there has been some moments where I'm like, Bungie, what are you doing? Why'd you do this? Why'd you take this out? Why'd you cut this content? It was one of the best pieces of content you've made. There are some decisions there that I think that weren't the best, but yeah, I agree with what you said, that Bungie left a sour taste in some people's mouth with the Destiny franchise.
No comment. I've never played Destiny. After Halo was over, I said, okay, it's been good, Bungie. I'm going to go over here now. You guys, I hope y'all do well. And I never played Destiny. Just, I couldn't do it.
What fills the Halo-filled... What fills the Halo-shaped hole in your heart now then?
At that point, it was Call of Duty.
There we go. Insert Modern Warfare 2.
Call of Duty took over for Halo, and
Black Ops, that would have been, wouldn't it? Black Ops 2 Zombies, around about that era, is it?
Ooh, yes.
Yeah, I think it was Black Ops.
I hate Transit.
Oh, what's the one with? Is it Advanced Warfare? Oh, that was actually a pretty good game. That got a lot of hate, but I actually quite enjoyed that with Troy Baker.
That's also where I jumped off of Call of Duty at. When they started going, hey, guess what, guys? We're gonna do future tech. I'm like, okay, I'm good. Y'all are Call of Duty. You're not, Yeah, we don't need to go to the future just yet.
That was actually pretty good.
Spicy, adding it up. Yeah, I haven't played Advanced Warfare, but I did play Black Ops 3 and Infinite Warfare, where it still had the same mechanics with the double, the triple jumps, the like futuristic cannons and everything. And I think that the Infinite Warfare campaign was like highly underrated because it was kind of like a choose your own adventure type deal. But yeah, no, dude, I think it was. I still think those games were pretty good.
We'll have to definitely make Call of Duty a topic for the game podcast, definitely, and I think we should get back to Gundam now before everyone starts going, ooh, look, this is why my stuff doesn't work. These are my beats.
Every podcast. This is the video game podcast.
Cool stuff, guys. Anyway, I could talk about it for hours, and we will do. We'll do a special episode on this for anyone who's interested as well, which I'm sure is most of you, because who doesn't like video games? Who likes giant robots, right?
There you go.
So we're gonna jump.
Better.
I actually like the first Titanfall quite a lot, but again, we digress. We have to get back on track, guys. We have to get back on track, and I think there's no better way to get back on track with today's episode than actually jumping into the main course, which is pilots for the pilot. So we're all going to pick a pilot and just talk a little bit about the reason we chose them and what, whether it's the MS, whether it's their story, whatever it is, and then just write them a love letter, basically, I think. So who wants to go first on that one? Or shall I take the lead this time? I haven't took the lead yet.
Yeah, it's your turn to lead off.
Lead.
Okay, so I kind of copped out a little bit when I chose my pilot, because the pilot himself, even though I've got quite a lot of love for him, isn't the reason why I chose who I chose. I mainly chose it because I just finished the series up. It's fresh in my brain. It's the MS that I'm actually building right now on that table over there, and it's something that I think is going to stick with me for a long time, and that's Mikazuki and his Gundam Barbatos. Specifically his first Barbatos, and the reason I chose him is because of the series overall, and I think he's underrated as a character, and I think we can't talk about Mikazuki without talking about Orga, which is the main star of the show for me. I think his relationship with Orga, and how that plays, and how the Gundam plays as well in the actual survival of their group. So like I said, I'm very, very new to Gundam, so I'm not going to be rolling off specs or weapons or anything like that, unfortunately, guys. I can't help you with any of that, but the actual story development that came with it, and the actual design of the Gundam and how it looks, I think is very purposeful. The fact that it looks comparatively old, comparatively medieval, the weapons they chose for it being a big mace and a sword as well. I think at one point he just used a big iron bar as well, doesn't he? It's very primitive, and for that I feel like it's even more raw. He's not shooting out lasers and like light beams, and it's not something really cool and flashy like some of the Galahorn suits. It's just rough and dirty and scrap metal, but it's still standing. It kneels down, doesn't it, after every battle? It does that like kneeling pose, but it's still there. And at the end of every episode, where you see the photo of all of them, and it's still there in the background as they're all around it, just like one of those World War II photos where they're all around the tank or something like that. And I think that it's a symbol. It's a symbol. When they see the Barbatos, it's like morale does go right up. So that's the reason why I chose him, and his relationship with Orga, which is something I'm going to open up a conversation with you guys about. Now, through most of the series, I think Mika really takes a back seat in everything. He concentrates on the little things on his life, the things he can control. And when it comes to the other stuff, he tends to just be a machine, right? He's an absolute demon, hence his nickname in the show.
Oh, yeah.
But I wanted to get your guys' opinions on perhaps his thinking of why he does what he does, because obviously he owes Orga a great debt. He was very young at the time, and I think Orga pulled him through situations where he definitely wouldn't have made it through, but I think it goes way beyond that. But before I talk about it, I don't want to sort of like lead any ideas. I want to see what other people have took from the series as well, because that's one of the series is where if you watch the first few episodes, you could definitely think it's a show made for teenagers or young adults. But then as it goes on and on and on and on, it's like, wow, where do they stop? Where do they draw the line? And if you know, and it just goes past any line you think is possible for a cartoon or animation, and it just wipes it out.
Jake, you wanna start this? Well, contribute first.
Sure. Let's see. For Mika, I think a lot of. I mean, he had very, very good character development over the course of the 2 seasons. You know, he was a machine, like you said, David. He just whenever he's like, I gotta fight, it clicked, and he immediately handled it. But then when it came to everything else, he's just like, I don't know. You know, like what was it Cordelia that's like, I'll teach you to read, and he's like, okay, why do I need to read?
How will that help me pilot Barbados?
Yeah, like, will that help me fight? She's like, maybe, but, you know, and then he eventually, like, once it got to that point, you know, he started learning how to read, and then he's like, well, I want to be a farmer. You know, wasn't that his thing where he
wants to have a farm like his
like Biscuit, wasn't it?
Yeah,
was
Biscuit. Those names,
little sisters.
Those names though. Biscuit, was it Biscuit Cookie?
Yeah.
And their notorious naming tropes. But yeah, you know, he as he progressed and learned, I guess, you know, he started realizing, hey, I want to help take care of everybody and everything. I take care, you know, of all the fighting, and like I can do the hard things. So I want to be able to do something easy to help everybody else outside of doing the hard part that not everybody else can. And that eventually, you know, spoiler warning, of course, took its toll on Mika. And could we really say that it kind of made him an invalid by the end of the series? I mean, is that the right way to describe that? Because of the toll it took on his body, or
do you think that's what it was, or? I think
I think it was more he didn't know where to draw the line, so he just kept giving and giving and giving, and like you said, it took its toll on him. So it literally got to the point where, like you said, spoiler alert, where half his body wasn't working, so he just didn't know when to stop, right? So I don't think it would make him an invalid.
I think he knew where to stop. He just knew that he couldn't, because he was the only one that could do it.
Yeah.
I mean, you know,
okay.
Hero, or, you know, Space Guts, as I like to call him. He could do it. You know, he was right there with Mika, like, you know, I've got your back. But I don't think that he could have pushed it quite as far as Mika did. I mean, he came close. He certainly came close with the, you know, spoiler warning again, killing Izak at the very end.
Oh man, Izak deserved it. He was a dick. I'm sorry.
But yeah, like I said, I think Mika had extremely good character development, and this is coming from the guy that does not like IBO. I will disclose I don't like IBO because of the fan base.
Oh,
IBO's
right.
a good series.
Yeah, no, the fan base for IBO is super toxic.
You know what? When I finished series 1 of IBO, I was like, what is everyone talking about? Why do people love this series? What's it got going for it? Sure, it's got a few of its moments, but a few of the things that happen, like with Biscuit and who's the other guy who piloted the 1MS and his brother, and his stuff like that happens, and you're like, you know what, I saw the writing on the wall for that sort of shock value for shock value's sake. But then season 2 opened up, and I thought it was absolutely atrocious. I was like, what is going on? But it was that calm before the storm, and I think that it really paid off.
Right.
Ray, you got anything to add?
Yes. So, going back to the character development, I felt like for Mika, for Mika and Orga, like, as the series progressed, So like David said, Mika, he kind of started off with like no direction. He kind of has to like he always has to kind of refer to Orga for what to do next. Hence the famous line. So what do I do next, Orga? I noticed. I don't know if you guys also picked up on this too, but as Mika developed more as a character, as he started learning to read, learning to farm, etc., I noticed that in contrast, Barbatos, his suit was kind of regressing. So,
Yeah.
and I say that in sense
primal.
of like, exactly. So it first started off as a Barbatos, then became Barbatos Lupus, becoming more animalistic. Then Barbatos Lupus Rex, where it became like the most
Feral.
feral version of said suit. So I really liked how as the pilot developed, the suit regressed. So it was kind of like he was kind of taking from the mobile suit and adding to himself. Like that wasn't the case, but in a sense it kind of was the case at the same time. So Mika, he was developing and everything, whereas Barbatos was kind of going backwards. I really like that as in terms of like the development.
Yeah, you're right about that, and I think that also is a reflection of Mika's fighting style, too.
Yeah,
Because I mean,
wholeheartedly.
he was very, very animalistic with his fighting style. He's up in your face.
What's the name of
I'm
that?
gonna use what I can.
What's the name of that system where they plug it into like their spine? It's got like a strange name, isn't it?
I might be saying this wrong, but I think it was called the Alea Vignana.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah.
I think it's more.
Yeah.
I think it was more about the fact that he was like you said, he was giving more of himself to Barbatos rather than him. Like you said, Barbatos was upright, and then as you see Lupus Rex, it's on all fours with its tail out, and it's definitely an animal at that point. I think he was just giving more of himself to the actual machine. There was less boundaries or less. How can I say? Like a normal person, we walk around, we abide by the laws and abide by being a human being. At that point, towards the end of the series, he let it all go. He let it all totally go.
Yeah.
Oh no, I had a terrible thought. You guys think it might be because of the fact Barbatos is getting more animalistic because of the fact Mika had to be hooked up to it to make a baby with Atra?
Oh my goodness.
In heat. Lupus Rex in heat.
I had to.
Oh my goodness. I never thought of it like that, dude.
It's like, wait a minute. Because now that you guys pointed that out, how Barbatos kept regressing, like with its forms and fighting style and everything as a reflection of Mika, it's like, wait a minute. As the series progressed, they got, like, it was implied they had to do that. And I'm going, oh God.
I think it was just
That
more,
is true, though.
I think it was more of a complete opposite to Galahorn and Galahorn's very noble ideals, even though their ideas were noble, like the damage it caused, whereas obviously the Iron-Blooded Orphans, they maybe didn't do things so noble, but it came from a better place. I think it was more supposed to be a mirror on that than anything, in my personal opinion. But yeah, there was definitely a regression going on. I mean, we'll never know, will we? That's the nice thing about these things. We'll never really know.
Yeah, we can only speculate.
But what I wanted to talk about, which both of you touched on a little bit, but what I noticed was there was a line right at the end of the final episode of Ep.0 that made everything make sense. And he's in his suit, and the guy who looks up to him, I'm terrible with names, especially Japanese names, but the guy who looks up to him, who wanted to be just as strong as him, gets absolutely flattened right at the end, and he's like, "Go, Mika, I'll hold
with the white hair, right?
I'll hold it here." And he goes, "Good, I'm depending on you." And then obviously he passes away inside his suit. And then after that, if I remember, I might be getting this wrong, but after that, I'm pretty sure he has a moment where he's inside his suit and he's like, "What do I do next, Orga? I already know, but I just liked asking." And I think that line made everything make sense. The fact that he already knew, he always knew. He just liked asking. I think that made everything fall to pieces, where, like you said, it's a lot of character development. But I don't actually think it was character development. I think that they purposefully showed very little of him, purposefully let very little of him out. And then, as you said, with the Lupus Rex, as time went on, the boundaries sort of fell. But they weren't always good, because, you know, he wasn't ever brought up. He was an animal. He fought to survive till the next day. So as he gave more of himself to the machine, there was no more humanity. There was no more humanity to give. There was just that primal instinct of survival. And I think that's what it's always been about since day one. He never had a goal to live or have a family or have a son. I think that he knew that if he didn't, he would die. That was the alternative, and that was as bleak as his life was. And I think that a lot of people might not want to, think of that as canon or have it the story that sticks in their mind. But that's what sticks in the story for me. That, like, they were at the bottom. There was no one rung on the ladder. They were the bottom. They were the dirt that people stood on, and he knew that from day one. And he just fought not to die. There was never going to be a future for them. But by doing what he did and doing what they did, and I think this is why the epilogue is so powerful, by doing what they did, perhaps he didn't have a future, but his son does. The world does. Mars did. And I think that's really where it all goes with that anyway.
I really like RBO in the sense that it's one of the few shows where the protags don't win, and it's not because of plot armor or any of that BS. It's just like, it's an actual really well written story that they wanted to show that no matter how hard you fight, sometimes it's kind of all for nothing.
Yeah.
And I feel like RBO really encapsulated that perfectly. Just like everything David just said.
I think what happens with Augur 3 episodes from the end, if I remember correctly, what happens with Augur sums up exactly what you said, where you just, what's the Linkin Park line? We all know Linkin Park here, isn't it? Tried so hard, but in the end it doesn't even matter.
Exactly. Oh, man. Some things, they just click.
I can feel the AMV coming on now.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's more than enough rambling on my part about IBO. But yeah, I think
I think you actually nailed it, David. That was excellent. I mean, except for somebody that is a big fan of IBO like you are, that was an excellent description.
Yeah, you summed it up perfectly. If someone in the future were to just watch that little segment of this podcast, it would completely change their mind, minus our little spoilers there that we kind of dropped, but it will completely change their mind on their views of RBO. Oh, RBO is trash, blah, 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 blah. No. Just listen to this little segment, come back to it, rewatch the series, and then think about it even more.
Yeah, maybe
because you broke it down perfectly.
Barbatos getting carnal sin.
Carnal. Yeah. Who's gonna do a carnal custom? Barbatos carnal custom.
Oh God.
Oh my goodness.
It's got the mace. You never know.
I mean, someone's got to do a 7 Deadly Sins custom, haven't they? It's not been done yet, as far as I know. Someone's got to do a 7 Deadly Sins custom. Trey.
70, man. I can't with that show. That was a little too edgy for me.
Nah. I mean, you could get 7 Gundam, one for each sin, isn't it? That's what I was thinking, more than the actual anime.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about the actual anime. Okay, never mind. Forget what I said.
I could do that. You could have the Guxion remake Full City as Wrath or something.
Ooh.
He pretty much was Wrath, especially towards the end where he got his vengeance as well. I mean, well.
Then Gundam Bio would have to be definitely Pride.
Yeah, I was about to say I could see Bale being Pride.
That's I don't know. That's McGillis' suit, isn't it? At the end.
Wrath? Yes.
So who would oh, what's his name? The guy who died and came back to life. Spoiler alert. What was his suit?
Hold on.
Galileo? Yeah, Galileo.
Yeah, Galileo.
What was his suit? Vidar. Kimaris Vidar.
This was.
What would that be?
I don't know. That's a good question. Envy?
I would envy or kind of gluttony, maybe. I don't know. No, I wouldn't say gluttony.
Yeah, actually, we could do both because the Chimerus is a Gundam, and so is the Vidar. So he could be both.
Yeah, two heads to one coin. Where was the guy at the beginning? That's definitely Pride. That's definitely Pride. The guy who wouldn't kill kids right at the beginning, episode 1.
But okay, yeah, but that was a graze. That was more of like a grunt suit, though. Not really.
So is the Demi trainer.
Hey, put your dukes up, David. I'm joking.
Demi Barding.
Demi Barding. That is one cool suit. That is one cool suit. Trey, have you seen that episode yet?
Never mind, Trey. Never mind.
Don't worry.
Yeah, that was okay. If that was last week's episode, when last week's from WFM, yes, I've seen it. And
I think sorry, Trey. I think we'll stay off because there's quite a few people who probably haven't caught up on IBO is a different thing because it's a few years old. But WFM a couple of weeks ago, I think we'll keep off that one for now.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, but I've seen last week's episode, but this week's episode I have not seen. So, yeah. Okay, so do you think we should get back to?
Let's get back to it.
Back to the topics. Pilots for the pilot.
Yeah, let's get back to it. I got no more to say about Barbatos or my boy Mika.
Trey, I want to know. I want you to make me love the unicorn even more.
Okay, so I was in between Benager and Rita / Jonah, simply because I feel like Benager, he was not quite like the mindless, he was kind of like refusing, like he knew what he had to do, he knew he had the power with being the only person who could pilot the Unicorn Gundam, but he didn't want to do it. And have you guys both seen Gundam Unicorn, be it the OVAs or the series?
This is a learning experience for me.
I own it.
Oh, okay. So first, Gundam Unicorn, it had 2 releases. It had the 7-episode OVA, and it also had a not a mini series, but like a series where those episodes were chopped up into like 24 episodes, and it was called Unicorn RE0096 because that's the year in the Universal Century that it took place in. So I feel like it was kind of like the opposite of Mika because he knew what he had to do, he just didn't want to do it, whereas Mika, he didn't quite know what he had to do at the beginning, but he still did it, so hence kind of like drawing like a contrast to Mika. But also, if you guys haven't seen Unicorn, Jake, I'm pretty sure you've seen it, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
And David, you said it's a learning experience, so that's a no for you, right?
No for me. But it's fine. Carry on.
Okay. You sure? Because it's even older than...
I've spoiled myself plenty with that.
Okay. Say again?
I said I smell a watch party coming on in the future, so we can see David's reaction first.
Oh. All right. So,
maybe.
So the way that Unicorn played out, the Unicorn was straight up broken. Like by the time it got to the last 15-20 minutes of episode 7 of the OVA, the Unicorn was busted. It was broken with time hacks, remote controlling, like random suits. It was just busted. I find it's more busted than the Turn A Gundam. So I feel
was
like
about to say, do you think that, like, between the Turn A and the Unicorn at that point, at the end of episode 7, which one do you think would win?
I love these.
Specifically, I would say like the luminous crystal body form of the unicorn when it had the psycho frame breaking out. That it was just beyond. It was broken. Like, if you guys want to know what overpowered is, skip to the last 20 minutes of Unicorn, and you will see what overpowered is. Like, that's my personal opinion. So with the way that the series played out, it was him kind of evolving as a character. There was like the development. He knew that what he had to do. He knew his responsibility, but he was always trying to find the way, like find an alternative, because again, like kind of like any character who is being forced along a path that they don't want to do. Like, he ultimately like sucked it up, and he's like, okay, I'm the only one who could do it. And then with Minerva kind of at his side, he kind of accepted his responsibility, but at the same time he still found an alternative to saving everyone in the colony against the colony laser. And him and Rita, they teamed up to like kind of save the monument. So I feel like Benager, like, he had that development, but if you started the series with that mentality at the, like, off the jump, it would have been a completely different show. And also, why I wanted to bring up Yona and Rita and Gundam narrative at the same time was that if the Benager that was at the end of narrative was the same, well, it was the same person, but I mean, like, that in terms of development, if it was the same Benager at the, yes, completely different show, like 100%. Now for Rita and Yona, so how can I say this without spoiling? So the fact that Rita was experimented on and ultimately transplanted into the psycho frame of the Phoenix, it was kind of like the Phoenix was like, it's been a while since I last watched narrative, so it's like the Phoenix was autonomous.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I should have let out. Sorry, I'm so sorry, guys. So the Phoenix was autonomous.
It's a very, very close incarnation to the Ariel, I guess, since it's current. I guess.
Yes, that's the real spoiler here.
Yeah.
See, I wasn't gonna say that. I was gonna say more along the lines of. Who else was it?
Can I stop you there a minute? What's the deal with the RX-78-2 at the end of the OG series then? Because that walks on its own for quite a bit without a head as well.
Okay, that I can actually elaborate on completely. That was autopilot.
Oh, okay.
Like fully autopilot. Okay.
Yeah, it was actually fully on autopilot at that point, because the RX's big thing is that it had a learning computer on board. So at that point in the war, it had already learned enough from Amuro that it could go and fight on autopilot.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I never finished the OG series. I started it on Crunchyroll, but just because of like how dated it was, the animation kind of turned me off. I got to like, I think, episode 17, and then I kind of fell off from that. Yeah,
I would highly recommend trying to watch the movie trilogy then, because I think they're actually on Netflix.
Okay, dope.
And the animation is still a little wonky, but I mean, they actually went back and touched some of it up, so it's not too bad.
Yeah, because the trilogy was remastered, correct?
Yeah. It came out in, I think, like 81 was when the first movie came out.
Okay, so there's still like the time on it though.
Yeah.
It's just got its own feel, though. It's just got its own feel, though,
Yeah,
isn't it? It's jank, but it's like cool. Like those. It's
But
like the
it's what
Z
started it
God.
all, correct? Right?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so going back to like the pilots, when Jonah jumped into the pilot seat of the Phoenix, like he was chasing the Phoenix the whole time, trying to get back to Rita, whereas the contrast to Benager and the Unicorn was so Jonah was trying to chase it and kind of be with it and shoulder that responsibility, whereas Benager had the responsibility, but he was trying to run away from it until he got to the point where he was ultimately like, it has to be me. Like, I'm the only one that could do it, because the system was locked to his biometrics and everything, and he was the only one that could pilot the Unicorn. Whereas the Phoenix being I believe the canon for the Phoenix was that it was developed from parts of the Unicorn and the Banshee, and then so narrative takes place, I think, 1 or 2 years after the events of Unicorn. I think it was like UC 0098, whereas Unicorn was 0096. So Anaheim had developed the Phoenix in secret because, they had been sealed away because they're too powerful. The humans weren't ready for that kind of technology and power. But Anaheim, being Anaheim, they did their own thing. They're like, you know what, we're gonna go ahead, do this, develop this in secret, and the Phoenix just went out of control. Whereas the only person, with the whole new type situation and them trying to find a true new type, whereas Benager, who evolved into a true new type at the end of the series. Again, I should have put spoiler alert before that, but I'm kind of not in my fanboy head, but I'm still trying to explain at the same time.
It's cool, dude. I can stick a spoiler alert on you. It's no problem.
Okay, thank you.
As long as we don't spoil too much of the new stuff, like Witch from Mercury, I think we're cool, because they're all years old. I mean, if you don't know now, then it's kind of on you at this point, I think.
And of course, if you guys can,
agreed.
If you guys need any input, just ask, because literally, I'm sitting here going, I know the whole development history. I can tell you if you want to know.
Was I correct with some of my statements?
A little bit.
A little bit, damn. Okay.
Oh.
Teachers.
You see, I'm just
now.
Dude, feel free to jump in and correct me at any point, because I'm just going off of what I glanced off of the wiki and some of what.
Okay, guys. So the episode's just changed. Jake is now going to just talk us through every pilot of every MS and tell us all the history.
Oh no, not quite. Not quite. I could. We can actually do an episode where I can literally go through the entire UC in order. But so no, the only thing was the Unicorn, the Banshee, and the Phoenix were all developed at the same time. They just had they just had different loadouts, and then I think the Unicorn was the only one with the Laplace system to find.
Yeah,
and then the Phoenix was the only one of the three that had I want to say Rita was a pseudo new type, so she was like a cyber new type. Whenever she was forced to pilot it, I think she might have. Well, actually no, because she is an actual new type. Rita is an actual new type.
Yeah, because she had that vision at the beginning of narrative.
Yeah, they experimented on her, so I don't know if she's like an in-between, like an actual new type or a cyber new type, but the system responded like really violently to her, because of all that she'd been through at that point. And that's why it went berserk, and that's, so that's why it's out there flying around doing its, own thing.
Its own solo thing. Right.
Yeah. Now, as to what happened to Rita's body, we don't know. There's people that think.
Yeah, that's.
self-absorbed her or what? I mean, I don't know.
Because
It could be some weirdness out there with it, but I guess we'll never know.
I feel like it was just her consciousness that might have just been like transplanted into the psycho frame because of A, being the new type, B, the experimentation and the trauma and all that stuff. But if you remember at the end of Unicorn, the episode 7 Over the Rainbow, Full Frontal's body, like, it was still in the cockpit of the Sinanju, but his consciousness had left. So this is my own theory. I believe that Rita's body might have been like buried traditionally or like properly, I don't know a better way to say this, but properly disposed of, whereas her consciousness might have been transferred into the psycho frame, which was a cause of that whole craziness.
Yeah,
that's my theory.
That's close. Actually, that's damn close. We're just gonna have to do like a whole UC history episode.
Yeah,
we're gonna have to split that up into chunks. That would actually be cool. I mean, if people want to see that, we could do that. We could definitely split it up into chunks, and we've got enough heads to actually figure out where the cutting points would be as well. So which would work out as, you know, this major event happened and then this major event happened that changes things. And I think we could definitely do that, definitely cut it up, but it would take a little bit of effort. We would need to prepare that one, and we could definitely do some really cool stuff with that.
Yeah, because I guess I'm just weird like that. Whenever I see stuff that's related to the UC, my mind turns into a sponge and just goes, oh, remember that. You might need it. Like, why? I don't know. Okay? Shut up. Don't
It is interesting, though. It's really cool. I think it's because the creators pour a lot into it. I think it doesn't just, it's not sort of, there is aspects of it where they're just trying to shoehorn stuff in and make it work, but 90% of it, I would say, is very dedicated. They know what they're trying to say.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The UC, that's why it's my absolute favorite, is because it's got, you know, like decades of world building at this point. But we are...
Yeah, like 40 years deep now at this point?
Yeah, close to, actually 40...
More than that,
45, I think, almost.
Yeah, wasn't the first one like released 79? Wasn't it the first one? Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, 1970, 78, 79, something like that. But we're getting way...
Yeah, so probably 45.
we
yeah.
with the unicorn.
Yeah.
Sorry to steal.
So,
there, Trey.
Nah, dude, I do not mind, because you're just making it more clear for both myself and the viewers. We got you, viewers. But yeah, so in terms of like character development, I feel like Benager was super hesitant towards like the beginning, and even when they touched down on Earth in one of the episodes, there was that whole thing with the mobile armor. I think it was the Nightingale. It was where he was the only one.
The giant crab thing at Torrington.
Yes. Exactly.
But it was something with an S. I can't remember right off.
But there was that moment towards the end where he was like, well, the end of that confrontation where he's like, I know I'm the only one that could do it, but I can't. And then that's when Rita came in with his was it his the Jester, not the Jester, but he came in.
Delta Plus, I think it was.
Yeah, and then he did the thing, and he did what Benager couldn't at the cost of the suit's arm. No spoilers there, guys. If you guys gotta watch that.
Forgive the gratuity, but Riddy said, "Quit being a bitch and do what you gotta do."
Pretty much, pretty much. But it was just like moments like that made me think. I'm like, okay, so Benager, even though he's just a kid, I think it was like he was in his like mid-teens, early teens at the time, but he had all this responsibility. He just did not know what to do and like how to execute on it. But by the end of the series, but then I don't know if that was a 1 second for me to pause, or just said he's gonna come back, or.
It's cool, man. Carry on. It's cool.
Okay, so I believe that like it was by the end of the series, Benadryl had just been like, okay, I know this is what I have to do. I'm the only one that can do it. I'm the only one that has a responsibility. And when you fast forward to narrative, he was the one that spoke to Jonah, and he was like, you know, there's some things that you can't control, something that you can. Just do what you can with what you can, and like what will be kind of. So I feel like Benadryl's story truly was topped off at the end of narrative, even though he kind of only popped up in like the last few minutes of narrative. And yeah, the contrast with not the contrast, but like the contrast with Jonah and the Phoenix, where Jonah knew what he had to do, but he just didn't have the not responsibility, but he didn't have the right tools to do it, because he only got them at the end of narrative when he hopped in the Phoenix.
I think that's a very Japanese thing, as well as just a general thing as well, though, which is a burden or a responsibility that someone doesn't want to take on because of the, you know, basically the after effects as well. But then later on,
right,
facing perhaps a larger evil, they choose the lesser evil. I think that's a very, not just a Gundam thing, but in Japanese media in general. I think that, like, you see that in Evangelion right from the beginning, don't you, with
right.
Because I've not seen Unicorn. I'm just trying to draw a parallel to something that I kind of do know. And have you guys seen Evangelion?
Oh yeah.
I have not, but hold on. But on no, time out. So the whole reason being was because I know Netflix, they dropped the remaster. I think it was 2014, 2015 that they remastered it. But there's so many things that were like censored, apparently, from what I've heard. So I didn't bother watching it. But Crunchyroll, their YouTube channel, they dropped a whole Evangelion summary, and that was like an hour and a half long video, and it was so confusing because of the different timelines and everything. So it's like, that was the one reason why I ended up not watching it.
We're talking about
with the dude with the glasses and the whiteboard. Yeah, that's.
Not to bash Crunchyroll, because you know that's the only place we can really watch anime here on the in the Western Hemisphere. Yeah, that video was really out there.
Yeah, there's like. Anyways, that kind of turned me off to to watching the series. But I full-heartedly respect it. I have not bashed it. I did not, like... I'm not against it. I'm not for it. I'm just, like, right down the middle, you know?
You should give it a watch. You should give it... It's crazy, but it's worth watching. It's like,
yeah, okay.
It's just split up with a bunch of slice of life stuff as well. Like, they go, I don't know how long an episode is, about 20-25 minutes, right? And a good 15 minutes of that is just slice of life, and 10 minutes of just giant robots going at it. It is the craziest thing ever.
If you get the chance, Trey, check Amazon Prime. I think they've got the Rebuild movies on it.
Okay.
And those are supposed to be like the true, like, story, I guess, or the true canon.
Okay, got it.
Isn't that how they said it, David? Or have you seen them?
I haven't seen any of. I've just seen what would be considered the originals, I suppose, and I've seen the first movie. So I'm not all the way caught up with all of it and all the different. But I think it's one of those things where when they start thinking of new stuff, they go, "No, we like this better," and then take it down a different route. It seems like one of those things where they maybe had large ideas and were given a small scope, but then once people realized that, you know, this stuff sells, they were then given maybe a bit more scope, and then they went, oh, okay, so now we've got X amount of episodes that we can do stuff with, and then it just sort of goes off the rails, doesn't it? At least that's my recollection of it.
Really quick, I just want to digress for like something really small, but it is still pertaining to Evangelion. Have you guys seen that Power Ranger Megazord mashup of Evangelion, Godzilla, Ultraman. And
I wake up in hot sweats thinking about it.
I love it. As silly and as weird as it is, I love it.
Oh my God.
I saw it. I'm sitting here going, this is so absurdly stupid, but I am so entertained right
Oh
now.
my God, it's the thing of my nightmares, that is. I love every single one of those individually, but it's like all your favorite foods just put into one bowl and mixed up. That's what I think it's like.
Right?
And it was all of them running toward the camera. I said, oh God, they're going to combine like the Power Rangers. Oh God, no.
For me, I feel like the only thing that doesn't fit in that recipe is just Godzilla, but everything else would be good. But just Godzilla in that recipe, for me, that was a little...
Something that acted as the Tyrannosaurus.
True. But yeah, no, I just wanted to bring that up since we brought up Evangelion really quick.
Oh man, it was just me hijacking Trey's thing anyway, trying to draw parallels between that sort of like.
Oh, no worries.
On a quick note for the Evangelion thing, we can do. I can do a whole thing on that one too, because I can't remember the creator's name, and I feel bad for it because he deserves all the props. But and it's true, everything for Evangelion is supposedly canon. The old series, the old movies, the new movies, the Netflix rehash, I don't know if it's canon or not, but yeah, all of it. Like, it gets insane trying to figure it out, because I sat down one day and I'm like, I'm going to read this and figure out just what the hell is going on with Evangelion.
I'll be the first to say, though, I kind of like the original ending. I think a lot of people don't like it. It's kind of, but I really like. I could stop there and be like, yeah, this is cool.
I couldn't do it. I tried, like, whenever I saw the original ending, because I'm like, what just happened? Where did all the what? No.
Yeah, it's exactly like that. That's the That's why I love it. That's why I love it. It's just like, okay, so all that we've just saw is just kind of, all right, okay. Then it ends, and then that's it. It's like we're never gonna find out. We're never gonna know.
I felt a lot like Michael from GTA 5 after that mission where his son drugs him and he comes out of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
God damn it!
What?
Oh, snap. Yeah, I pretty much said my whole piece about the Unicorn, Benager, Jonah, and the Phoenix.
I definitely want to jump into.
I don't really have, but you should. I recommend the OVAs over the series, just because like you could finish all the OVAs like relatively quicker.
Yeah.
Well, then again, it's always dealer's choice, but
probably what, Trey? 2 days, 3 days, because they're both all 7 are an hour and a half a piece.
Yeah, exactly. So like you could bang the entire series out in a weekend and you're good to go.
Yeah. The only thing I will say is that when you do go to watch it, David, you're probably going to want to ask some questions. 'Cause they build a lot on, like, I think Zeta and even some double Zeta. The original series is touched on just a little bit.
That's good to know. That's good to know already, because I've started Zeta a little bit. I've seen the original series and I've seen CCA, seen Hathaway, but that's about my extent of the Universal Century. But I'm just dipping my toes into Zeta at the moment, and it's not got the same feel as, like, I watched IBO and Witcher Mercury. It's not got the same feel to it so far, but we'll see how it goes and how it ticks over.
Because IBO and WFM are different timelines as well, right? So there's also that might like take effect. That you gotta take account for.
But I find that. Sorry, man. Carry on. It's okay.
I was just gonna say, a lot of the way that I look at Unicorn with because when you get to CCA, when you get to Shar's counterattack, it starts to kind of diverge just a little bit, in that you get the whole new type, Axis shock psycho frame thing, which goes into Unicorn, and then if you want to continue like the main drama, you know, with taking care of the Earth and stuff, you go more toward like Hathaway, which doesn't deal with as much of the new type phenomenon and like the space magic that is Psycho Frame and new types and all that.
Yeah. Well, I want to see it. I want to see it all eventually.
Yeah, I think Hathaway takes place after Unicorn. I think it's like UC 106 or 107 or something.
Actually, I think it's like, I think it's 105. I can't remember. There's so much of it that it takes like Hathaway takes place after Unicorn, but before F90 and F91.
Okay, gotcha. Because I haven't seen the F90.
Yeah, I think Hathaway like predates F91 by like 15 years or something like that. 15 to 20 years.
Okay.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like we'll have to get Tri-Seed on to talk about the late.
Yeah, I was just about to say that's exactly what I've got in mind for late UC. Yeah.
Like I said, he knows more about that side of it than even I do. Like I know the beginning, the middle, all of that's really fleshed out, and a lot of it I can remember. But then after that point, it's just like, what? There's a Gundam that looks
kind
like
of jumbles.
Yeah, there's a Gundam that looks like a pirate, and there's like fighting Jupiter. What?
Oh, you gotta love the crossbow. Gotta love the crossbow. Who doesn't love the crossbow? But yeah, definitely. I think that might be a thing. I mean, comment down below, guys, or hit us up on Instagram, and let us know what you sort of think. Do you want to hear more about late UC, mid UC, the beginnings of it all? Because we can definitely do that. We've got the heads to do it.
Heavy Metals Classroom. I'm gonna teach y'all some stuff.
Sign me up for that class. Not as an elective though, as like a main course material.
All right, everybody, if you open your today, we're going to start at the beginning with the UC.
I wonder if we'll ever get to a stage where you could major in Gundam. I mean, people are majoring in Tolkien now, so it's like you're gonna get there maybe.
I don't see why not, man. I really don't see why not.
The amount of influence Tolkien has had, though, with everything. Maybe eventually Tomino will get to that point with Gundam, but it might be a Japanese.
Time will tell, guys.
It would be something that they would have at Japanese universities. Like, I don't think that could last here in America.
They already got, like we were talking Monster, Naoki Urasawa's already got his own course, I think in Nagoya, if I remember correctly. So there's already a lot of that stuff there right now. I mean, it's taken way more seriously over here than it is in the West. Like coming from the UK, where everyone thinks it's a children's cartoon, it's definitely taken more seriously as literature. There's no real, obviously it's still fiction, right? But there's no boundary between that and say, like Tolkien or something. Not at all. It's all just fiction here.
The judgment barrier isn't there.
Which is definitely prevalent in the UK. You definitely see that in the UK where you go, this is a cartoon or a comic book.
It's starting to blur here in the States. Like you see more and more people walking around with stuff on now. Like I remember you could not find anything like Dragon Ball Z related, anything like that. Trey knows what I'm talking about. The late 90s.
Oh, 100%.
You couldn't find anything. And now, literally, like I walked into Walmart and I saw a backpack during back to school season that had Goku, Vegeta, Piccolo, and Gohan on it. And I'm like, what?
It's got big.
When did this become?
Yeah, because now
Dragon Ball become mainstream?
About 2020.
Now it started to seep into. I won't deny that I feel like coronavirus, it had a big impact on a lot of people willing to try, like, on their decision to be willing to try new things. And around 2020, 2021, that's when a lot of, like, Eastern culture, Japanese, like, anime, that kind of stuff, it started to become more, not necessarily mainstream, but more prevalent in the, because even like Jake said, early 90s, late 90s, early 2000s, you have to go to like specialized stores to find that kind of stuff. Whereas now, like Jake said, you just walk into Walmart, you walk into Target or whatever, and then you have racks and dedicated like section for that. And yeah, it really started to seep over here.
Yeah, man, I can attest to that.
I remember as a little kid when I started watching Dragon Ball, and I wanted to do it from the very beginning. When Walmart started getting in the VHS copies, it's like, oh my god, finally.
Oh my god.
Because I lived in Tennessee at the time, and I had to make a trip to Alabama down here where I live now to go to the mall that they had down here and go to a specialty store in the mall. I think, Trey, you might know it. It was called Suncoast. And they had...
actually, we don't have that in Canada.
Oh, wow.
We don't have Suncoast in Canada.
I think they're long out of business now, but
okay.
It was just a nightmare. And I remember like getting the box sets. It's like $60, $70 for like 8 VHS tapes, binge through all of them in a couple days. Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that
years ago.
There's a lot of stores that you guys have in the States that we don't have here in Canada. Like, we had Target. They only lasted a couple of years. But again, because of import laws, there's a lot of stock that they couldn't sell here. Much like either that they couldn't sell it or it was just too expensive to import to Canada. Like, these guys, Like, I was talking to someone and he got the Crystal Unicorn. He paid maybe the equivalent of 110 Canadian, whereas I paid like 300 Canadian for that exact same kit. So it's like, it's just too expensive import fees here, man. It's atrocious.
It's the same here, man. Like, we've compared prices on a few things, and Thailand prices are roughly comparable to Canadian prices. And then when you guys say, "Oh, I've picked up a WFM kit for $15 or $20," and I'm like, "What?"
Yeah, it's nasty, man.
I'm just gonna be quiet over here because I actually just got a friend of mine who we might have on eventually to pick me up at Darrow Balde for like $25.
Bro. Oh, it's not.
But I can't complain because we have the stock here in Thailand. It's like I can walk into, like, if it's not in one of the 3 shops here, I could definitely order it online. There's no, I can't get hold of it. I mean, I held out for the Shinanju Stein just because I've not actually ordered online here in Thailand before, and it's kind of, the postal system's not exactly, the greatest, should I say, or, it's a little bit rough around the edges, so I've stayed away from ordering online. But if I wanted to, I could place an order and it would be here in a couple of days or whatever. But seeing that out in the wild, but even then prices were crazy compared to the rest of the world, so I'm just happy to have it.
Right. But I feel like that's kind of I would think that they wouldn't be too expensive where you're located, David, because you're relatively closer to Japan. So it's like they shouldn't be that much more expensive.
It's all import tax, isn't it? It's all import tax on anything that's considered luxury. Well, not luxury, but like non-essential. Import tax is crazy high. Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
And then I'm sure they've also got taxes on it because it's like plastic and stuff, and a lot of countries and places like that are starting to crack down on plastic bans now. And
we had a massive conference in Bangkok about 3-4 months ago where they were talking about how they were going to change their view on plastics and stuff. They're quite advanced here in Southeast Asia with that sort of stuff.
Wow.
Because they got to get it ready for MAFTI.
I see what you did there.
That's where Hathaway takes place, is in the South Pacific.
So what's your opinions, guys? What's your opinions? Whose side would you be on all of this?
You don't want to know.
Yeah.
I'd get a contract at Anaheim. Play both sides.
Other than dropping a colony and killing like half of the human population, Xeon did nothing wrong.
Okay, so if you say that, then you agree with me when I say Aaron did nothing wrong because he kind of did the same thing.
Zeon did nothing.
So
They just wanted independence. They wanted to be treated fairly by the Federation. And then the Federation kept saying, nah, and just turning their nose up at them. And then Zeon finally said, all right, bet, we're going to start making weapons. And the Federation goes, okay, whatever. Oh, fuck, they're dropping a colony? Oh, God. Oh, they're a real... Oh, they're a force to be reckoned with now. It is... all right, it's on.
it's on.
Yeah, Zeon did nothing wrong.
I mean,
They're just, like
the
you said,
same.
fighting for independence.
The same could be said for most of the Federation, apart from a few higher ups who make the calls. So I think that's the whole point of Gundam, right? Though that, like a lot of people, oh, what's his name? Bright, isn't it? Bright. A lot of people hate on Bright, and I just don't understand why. He's just like literally a naive kid thrown in to lead a whole team during one of the worst assaults that's ever been taken place on a test run of a Gundam.
And then he ends up becoming one of the most revered ship captains of the entire franchise. Like,
Go figure, right?
But that's why we've made a podcast, right? Because we could just go on forever about everything. Which I've got to say, guys, we've broke the 2-hour mark now. I think that I think that we're going to have to do the final pilot for the pilot and then call it a night. And then everyone's going to have to tune back in next time to see what else we've got to talk about. I mean, I did want to go through the list, but time's escaped us. I didn't realize it's been that long, but it's been fun. It's been great
It's
talking
getting
to
late
you all.
for you.
episode
I've got
0.5.
0.5.
Part 2.
We'll have to do it. Yeah, no problem. Split it up. Who's going to listen for this long?
Just to wrap up.
I'll talk all day. It's no problem to me. It's who's going to listen to me talk all day.
We're going to long episodes at this point because I got a feeling we could all just keep going.
Yeah. But that's the great thing about
this is just 3 of
Gundam.
us. Imagine if we had more people.
Yeah, it's just time zones, isn't it? That's the only thing. It's hard to get. I mean, we've all been texted a little bit. We've all got a group chat, and it's kind of easy when you got the time to just go through all of them that you've missed. But getting times to line up for all of us is a little bit difficult, even on the weekends where some of us are working weekends, others like today is Sunday night where I might not be working, but tomorrow I've got to be up early. So
right,
like today I might not be working, but tomorrow I've got to be up early, whereas you guys have got the rest of the day ahead of you. Or it's the opposite where I think Joe by the seams of things is preoccupied, whether he's got work or something else, so he's not able to join us today. It's like that. That's how it is when we're this age, isn't it? We don't have open schedules anymore, unfortunately. And I'm still struggling with the whole thing. When I look in the mirror, I think
it's about balance, bro.
When I look in the mirror, I think, who's this old guy looking back at me? Where did the past 10 years go?
Oh, yeah. Trust me, man. Literally, like all of this up here used to be really thick. Like I used to have makeup. It's like, oh God, where did it go? Come back, please.
Yeah.
Don't worry, Trey. You'll turn that corner next year, Trey.
Yeah, I'll be hitting 30 in September, so yeah, I'll be there soon, boys.
Join us. We swear. Gotta be in bed by 10 every night.
Yeah, I'm just trying the day I wake up and my knees are like, the fuck are you doing? And then I just collapse on the floor.
Well, you're already complaining about the cold. You're almost there.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true.
You're getting it. All right,
So, final
pilot segment. I guess that's me now, huh, fellas? All right, well, since it's heavy metal, you guys know I had to pick the Exia and Setsuna. So, Setsuna starts off, we meet him, shit little kid. He's Edgelord Supreme, I guess is the best way to put it. Hang on, I am a Gundam. It all stems from him being a child soldier in the Middle East. I know that's probably going to rub some feathers the wrong way with some people, but murders his own parents. Spoiler warning. That's revealed later. Gonna be a lot of spoiler warnings.
This is Gundam. This is not Gundam for the uninitiated. Gundam is like this. If you get turned off by simple things like killing your own parents and child soldiers in the Middle East, don't even look at Gundam as a hobby. That's the gateway.
Stay away from this, guys.
So anyway, yeah. Spoiler warning. Setsuna, real name Soren Ibrahim, kills his own parents. Being trained as a child soldier, Middle East, so it's a really hard mentality for him to break and open up to people once he joins Celestial Being. He becomes the pilot of the Exia and just proceeds to clean house. The whole idea behind Celestial Being is we're gonna get rid of war with war, which is really like, what? I'm sorry, how do you do that?
That's the human way, dude. That's how we've been doing it for centuries.
How are you?
Yeah, it ain't broke.
You gotta carry the biggest stick. That's how it is.
Yeah. And Setsuna, quite literally, like, he takes that completely to heart, and he just says, all right, I can do that. So, and as the series progresses, he starts to open up, I guess, and starts to see that, maybe things aren't as bad as they could be, even though he's still pretty, he's a lot like Mika. There are a lot of parallels between Setsuna, Mika, and Hiro from Gundam Wing, in that they are just completely zero personality, zero fucks given and messing around. They are for the mission.
Point me in a direction, pull the trigger type of deal.
Yeah, they are quite literally, I am the weapon at this point.
Right.
So they, and over time, once the end of season 1 rolls around, Setsuna, he suffers a couple of losses. Well, one major loss. Not gonna say who. I can try to fight that. Season 2 picks up. He's been doing his own thing, still with the Exia. Ends up getting back with the rest of Celestial Being. And he starts opening up more and more progressively. The end of season 2, he becomes the first, I guess, 00's version of a new type.
Yeah, the first true version of that's accurate.
Yeah, even though 00 does, that's one gripe I have with 00. They don't really do a good job of explaining exactly what an innovator is. It's just kind of up in the air. Tieria, he's like a pseudo-innovator, I guess, is the best, like an innovade. That's what they call him in the show. But even he doesn't, explain what they are. They're like human supercomputers, I guess, because they can link to Veda, the AI system, or something like that.
Not Darth Vader. Veda.
Yes, not Darth Vader. Veda. Veda. But yeah, he, he's not a bad character. He is a bit stale. Even I'll admit that. He is probably the most robotic, quite literally, if you've seen Awakening of the Trailblazer. Spoilers. But
I get it.
I guess my whole thing is I'm just more of a fan of the Exia because, who doesn't like a giant sword?
You're talking to two Final Fantasy VII fans. You're in the right place.
There you go. You guys know exactly what I'm talking about. The giant swords that just come out of nowhere, and it's like, whoa, gimme.
Exhibit A, guys.
There you go.
Oh, I feel left out. I want to go get my Exia.
Well, this is a double rise of Exia.
Yeah, but I only have an Exia.
I do have this idea though.
David, you're gonna want the metal.
Nah, I'm gonna want the metal frame. Well, he's on a stand at the moment over there, and he's doing okay. I'm actually surprised how limp my Dynamez has been. It's only been a couple of months, and he's starting to give out a little bit. Yeah,
The master.
Really?
yeah. He's not.
That's
he's
the
not.
shocker.
Like he's
I have mine over
definitely-
here still.
Oh,
My
he's looking
Dynamez
good.
right there on the side.
Looking great.
Oh, he's still up in the right. I still got to cut him out, but
Yeah, because mine,
soon, guys.
I built mine literally like when it released, like release year. I think what was it, 2017 or something like that. And it's still just as rigid.
Yeah. Posed
Like
with the rifle as well.
Yeah, even with the rifle and everything, it holds it no problem.
I'll have to have a look at mine, see if something's loose or not. But I was trying to pose it up the other day for some pictures, and it was fighting me all the way. So I put it back in its kneeling pose and chucked it back in the corner.
Bad mold. I've
Could
had
have
kids
been.
before that were just, they were just bad molds. Which, don't get me started on that. That's a whole nother episode.
Yeah, I could agree with that. I built 2 MG Banshees. The first one was kind of loose in some parts, but the second one that I built at the beginning of this year was super solid. So yeah, I could attest to the dead molds.
Yeah, well, I was talking to Jake about this, about the RG unicorns as well, wasn't I? And it's like, I was having issues where my thigh would just fall apart on the one, and you were like, my unicorn's fine, but the Banshee... It was you, wasn't it? I was talking about the RG unicorns. Yeah, man, I thought so. Yeah, and you're like, my unicorn's fine, but my Banshee's doing exactly the same thing.
Yeah, like my RG unicorn, I can pull it out of the box right now, like dig it out of storage, out of the closet, and pop it open, put it in a pose, and it'll hold it, no problem. The Banshee, though, it'll look at me and just be like, "What?"
Not today.
Yeah, what?
What do you expect? Do you really want me to gun down? Because I don't feel like it. That's how mine is. I put it in the one pose, and that's it. I mean, it's in unicorn mode. It's in the one pose that takes very little effort, where it's not lifting anything heavy up, and it just sort of stays there. But if I even look at it funny, it just falls apart. Same with the RX-78 as well.
I think like last year, whenever I did the photo of all the kits I'd built at the time together, when I hit 1,000 followers on Instagram, the Banshee Norn real grade, I tried to put it in like a dab. It's like on its knee, doing a dab in the front, and literally it just like right as I went to take the picture, it just flopped over. Like, no, fuck you.
It waited it out. It was like, I can do it, but I won't.
It held it literally until I like went and tapped the button on my phone, or clicked the button on the the volume button, and it just goes, no, psych, joke's on you.
Got him, Dave Chappelle voice.
Yeah, there you go.
I think there's definitely such thing as, like, a lot of the customizers and that sort of aspect in this side of things, they'll say there's no such thing as a bad kit, you just got to work with them. No, there's bad kits and there's good kits.
Yeah.
There are bad kits out there, most definitely. Looking at you, HG Tristan, Bandai, when are we going to get a revive on that one, please? Because y'all really dropped the ball.
Question. Have you guys built anything prior? Have you built any kit that released prior to 2010? Because I've heard that kits before then were kind of, excuse my way of saying this, but they were kind of trash. But then after 2010, like those newer kits, because the technology was there, they're kind of like better. What do you guys think on that statement?
For the listeners that can't see, I have the biggest shit-eating grin right now.
I have a
I have a
1.5. I have a 1.5 over there that I still haven't built yet, so I'm about to experience it soon. I think that's like 2007 or 2009, isn't it?
There's a distinct shift that you can see with master grades, and I think it was around 2010. It was somewhere.
Yeah.
whenever they completely revolutionized everything, and it's like, oh, all right, cool.
The 2.0 was bad enough. I'll be honest, to build the RX-78 2.0 was bad enough, but it's solid as a rock done. I mean, apart from the core fighter.
The
oldest kit that I built. Go on, Jake.
Oh no, I was.
I'll say this after.
I frequent DeLong. Shout out to DeLong.net. All the time, like checking out stuff, planning ahead for kits and stuff, and it's somewhere around the time that I think it was when they started doing the seed kits and the Endless Waltz Kotoki designs for master grades was when the shift happened.
Okay.
Because the oldest kit was about the 2010s.
The Freedom 2.0 was
the oldest
nice
kit that I built. Well, that was a 2.0, so that has to be like updated, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
The oldest kit that I built was the Wing Zero custom, Endless Waltz custom, but not the Verka, the original one. And I think that released in like 06 or 07. And the only problem that I had was just like looseness in the joints. But once I painted that bad boy up, like all that looseness was gone. So
yeah, a lot of old kits like that. Some of them, they'll end up being loose, and I think that's just because of polycaps. But
yeah, there was a lot of polycaps in that build.
Oh yeah, when it comes to like articulation and stuff, older kits, yeah, that don't work. Because I think the oldest kit that I've built, master grade wise, was the GP.0 FB full burning, and it had one pose, and that was static. Quite literally, because
leave it, don't touch it.
Even the hands on it, like it was the high grade, or not high grade style, it was the 3 fingers, trigger finger, and thumb, and no peg in the palm, so it couldn't even hold the rifle. Like I had to close the fingers around the rifle and hope and pray that it would hold it, because that was before I knew what blue tack was.
Right.
it was just, oh my god, like how do you pose? You don't. You just stand there and look nice.
I think we're definitely spoiled now. Spoiled. Especially with this 1/100 aerial that I've just built. I mean, it's crazy. I was not expecting it to be that good. Have either of you guys built the big aerial yet?
Not yet.
I have not.
It actually, I think, just got here stateside.
The only full mechanics that I've built was the full mechanics Lupus Rex.
Ooh.
No, that was actually fun. Like, I have no beef with it, except for like some like lack of articulation, because FM compared to a regular master grade, it doesn't have that much detail. And I guess the best way. Are you going?
Give it about 5 years.
Okay, it's already been about 1, so I got 4 years left on that clock.
Maybe less than 5 years, because I know I did one back in, I think it's 2018, 2019, and I picked it up, the shop here that we would meet at for our local little build nights. It closed down, so we were getting everything out, and I picked it up, and when I did, the legs on it just like went completely limp noodle. And then I set it down, and it looked at me like, what are you doing? My legs are made of Jell-O, don't you know that?
Because right now I have them just chilling up there in the corner. Hey guys, it's David.
Yeah, that's probably the way you want to keep him, is on an action base.
Yeah.
Well, I'm hoping this aerial is going to be different, because the way it's put together is really nice. It's not got the full inner frame, but it's sort of like the Witcher Mercury high grades in that it's got its sort of articulating frame inside, plastic on plastic, much less C-clips.
Does it have any polycaps?
None, 0 as far as I can remember. All plastic on plastic, if I remember correctly. I think even the head is plastic on plastic, if I remember rightly. Yeah, it's got less polycaps than the Ashtray Red frame. I mean, compared to the Ashtray Red frame looks worse. I mean, the Ashtray red frame, in my eyes, put next to the Aerial, because I think they're very similar kits in sort of balance, size, and how they sort of articulate. The Aerial
sounds like the longevity
destroys it. Yeah, the Aerial absolutely destroys it in every way. I mean, obviously, we'll see how time goes on, because both kits are just pretty new. They're only a few months old each. But as of today, if I had to choose one, because they are roughly the same price, I would say the full mechanics Aerial, the 100 Aerial, definitely. Really good articulation, really good detail. No color correcting stickers at all from memory. It's just got. I think even the head is color correct. It's not even got eyes. I don't even think it's got stickers for eyes, if I remember correctly. All the weapons, I think they've also got colored pieces, if I remember rightly. It's just got those stickers that aren't, like the water decal style, but they're stickers. But because all the plastics are very light, as long as you smooth them on nice, the borders are not that noticeable at all. I really like the look of it. I really, really do.
Yeah, and the permanent parts, those are actually separate now too, right?
Yeah, so it's got
organic.
It's got like chrome pieces inside and then like a smoked plastic outer, and it looks really well. It looks really good together. So there's no like sticker inside. You don't sticker it and then put a glass piece over the top or anything like that.
Yeah, because I know some.
You're selling me pretty well on this kit, man.
Let's go get it. Let's show everyone.
That's what I'm thinking.
Because I know some of the parts for the high grades, you still got to do stickers on like the legs for the permanent score.
Here we are, guys.
The photo edit part that they did.
So I can't do a close up because of focus. Where's the focus going to be?
Right.
I've got a manual focus now, but yeah, I'm looking at it. There's literally, it's all plastic on plastic. So you've got a rotating joint here. These are actually, then push-in. It's not a C-clip, it's push-in. The hips are like the Freedom. Let's see if I can pop one out. Oh, no. It's not happening right now. Right. I'm not going to mess about with this on camera, but the hips are like the Freedom. Except they don't have that drop. So yeah, everything.
Okay.
As far as I can tell, yeah, everything is plastic on plastic. So it's got pegs in the upper arm. Then this is another. Oops. Right, I'll have to get that in a bit. Gun bits are gone. But yeah, so this is it's not C-clips. It's the two that you push together. It looks like a barrel, and you push it together. But it's really good. It's a really, really nice kit. Articulates pretty much however you want it, and as you can see with the stickers, like you can't really see the borders or anything on them. Can you see that clearly?
Definitely.
Yep.
Yeah, man, it's a really, really nice kit. I'll pick the shield up later. But yeah, it's a very, very nice kit. It's the same sort of price as you'd expect a Master Grade to be as well. I think they've just branded it that for... I think perhaps they're looking at expanding the articulation of what they started on with the Witch from Mercury line, but I think they knew if they labelled it Master Grade, then people would kick up a fuss about it not having a full inner frame. So perhaps it's just a naming choice more than an actual distinction between grades. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I have a feeling that we're going to see a lot more full mechanics in the future for certain things. Because shout out to the Undergated podcast. I was listening to them this past week, and they're like, I think Master Grade, it's not starting to die out. They're just starting to get a little bit more pick and choose with what they're going to put in Master
I've noticed that too.
I mean, if we're getting stuff like the Strike Freedom, then, the MGX, then that's cool. I'd take one of those over a bunch of kits I don't want any day. But I suppose that's just me. It could be personal preference coming into play on that as well.
No, but I could understand that. It's like Master Grade, I don't want to say that there's like a certain quality to it, but not every kit deserves a Master Grade release. And some Master Grade releases shouldn't have been Master Grade releases. So I can understand why Jake said that they're getting kind of pick and choosy with them.
Yeah, like, I mean, you think about it, your titular Gundams, like the Ariel, the Barbatos, stuff like that. Yeah, we're going to get master grades of those, more than likely. But kind of like how they did the Dom 1.5 and the Rick Dom, yeah. That could have been...
Yeah, they dropped the ball on that one, I feel.
That was a strange choice.
That one,
Yeah.
I know exactly why they did it. That was a marketing thing. But they could have put the parts for the Rick Dom in the box with the Dom and just had it, as one instead of two kids.
Right, and you could build this or that out of the kit, out of the box.
Well, they did that
Since they've started doing that now.
They did that with the Delanza, didn't they? With Lauda's Delanza, where you could build it as Lauda's, or you could just build it as the generic school version or whatever. So
yeah, and the S Gundam and the EXS Gundam master grades, you could make one or the other out of it, but you couldn't make both. I think that's probably their best bet to do stuff like that.
All right. So I know, I know David is also trying because I feel like we passed more about like a 2.5 hour at this point, and
coming up
like,
now,
it's getting
guys.
late for him over there. Yeah, it's getting late for him too.
I'm just worried about. I'm just mainly worried about our watchers, because obviously 2.5 hours, something like an hour you could definitely do whilst you're doing chores or something like that, but 2.5 hours, that's a long one to stomach. But it just goes to show just how much we do have to talk about and what we can go in depth on, which I'm really happy about. I thought we'd be wrapped up in sort of an hour and 15 minutes by all our talking points, but things just tangents lead into other tangents, which is great. It's really good.
Yes.
It's really, really good.
It happens going, first time going. I mean, it's going to be a little rough around the edges, and I'm going to have to refine.
Exactly. I was just going to...
Good.
I was going to say something along those lines, too. The first episode, you got to establish who we are, what we do, what we like, et cetera, et cetera. So I feel like 2.5 hours, it's kind of like the most people could be able to stomach for first episode. But moving forward, an hour 45, 2 hours,
Occasionally do a 2.5 hour episode. That might be my classroom episode.
I think we might have to split it. I think we might have to split it into specials, guys. Like, everyone's welcome to input as well down in the comments. But I think if we could split it up and sort of generally stick to sort of our talking points on our monthly podcast, and then if we can sort of work out another time with some special guests, possibly to do special episodes based on whether it be UC timeline stuff, specific suits, specific kits, or whatever it is, even video games. I think video games would be a really good one, because it's something we're all into alongside Gundam, but I don't think it's something that we really need to talk about on a regular basis that much. I mean, it could be if we've got a lot to talk about in the special, perhaps we could extend that. But I think that like a nice big long juicy special about video games would be very nice, and then perhaps, like you said, maybe a classroom episode here and there where we can really, but that's going to take a little while, because obviously we're not going to put out any sort of misinformation or anything. We're going to make sure everything that we say is what's known, or as far as we know is canon, isn't it?
Fact checking for the win.
By fact checking, it's just ask Jake. Doing this right?
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
I hate that. I absolutely hate it, because I feel like I'm the kid sitting in the back of the classroom with the glasses and the textbook going,
actually, what happened was...
no, I don't want to be that guy, but, when you guys ask, you're like, oh, yeah, I'll tell you. But
the thing is,
I'm not going to chime in and do that.
The thing is, if I know the history of a kit, even if I haven't seen the, the anime of it, but even if I know the history of a kit, like, it gets me super hyped to want one. Like, I don't know anything about the tall geese other than at one point in time it was the most badass suit, and that's all I needed to know, is that at one point in time that dude was king of the hill, and I wanted one.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's wind it down now. We'll try and stick to the talking points next time. I'm trying not to lose my earbuds again, but we'll try and stick to the talking
Yeah, mine
points
too are starting to fall out.
next time. We'll
Under your headset. Let's wrap your headset.
we'll definitely get some specials going. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for joining us. But I will give you all a minute to, if there's anything like our dealer's choice section, but if it could be compressed a little bit, if there's anything that you want to mention that you're currently doing, or anything you want people to know about, then this is the time now.
Jake, you want to take this one? Yeah, I got a couple things, but yeah, I'll let you go first.
All right. Not really much going on. Mecha Flump's pose off is still going on, so check that out occasionally. I'm in there. A couple of other really good people. Yup Gundam, Blast for Me builds, Centrex Gundam. There's a ton of us in there doing that right now, and it's fun. I'm looking forward to how the roster is going to shape up. As for builds and stuff I got going on and posting, I'm slacking just a little bit on that because of the post off. Plus, I've got some, IRL work going on that I've got to get taken care of. So, stick with me on that. I'll get back to posting regularly before much longer. But yeah, other than that, it's just me, Heavy Metal GunPla. You guys stick with it and be good people and be nice to one another.
Cool stuff. Thanks for joining me.
What's up? I guess my turn now. Again, kind of been slacking on the Insta post lately because I'm trying to coordinate with a bunch of different creators. GunPla Idea Factory here. The 3 GunPla tiers, which was announced yesterday. What else? Yeah, game streaming at the same time.
Congratulations on the GunPla tiers. I saw that.
Cheers, thank you. We've been actually trying to coordinate that since Christmas. And we've been working on that in the background. Me, Renovan Gundam 7, and I'm going to butcher his name. B36 Gundam Bolin. We've been working on that since right after Christmas. Also, game streaming, Twitch, at your boy Trizzy. As soon as Final Fantasy 16 releases in June, I'm taking a couple of days off work for that. So there's going to be that. Streaming some Destiny as well. Early 2024 Final Fantasy Rebirth as well.
Planning ahead.
Pretty much it, guys.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
okay, that's it. Sure thing, dude. He's got a lot more in the canon. That's the start of it, isn't it, dude?
Yeah. Final Fantasy where it's at for the streaming, man.
Man, it's so cool to see you join me, and I can't wait to see everything that you're talking about come to fruition. I'll throw all the links down below. As for myself, as all you guys know, you're on my channel now. I'm trying to figure this out, this YouTube, where I'm doing a lot of gaming at the moment, where me and my girlfriend Dow, we're playing through like a bunch of Resident Evils. I'm playing through Alan Wake, just trying to get caught up with the lore and see if I can pick anything new up before the second one. So that's what I'm currently doing at the moment. That's what's eating up my free time. I've been throwing a lot at the wall and seeing what sticks as for Gundam content at the moment, but I've set the bar pretty high for myself, and a lot of it I'm not too happy about. Mainly because I've done better before, but I'm fighting the weather here at the moment. It's rainy season in the tropics, and I really like the look of shooting my kits outside rather than shooting them, static inside personally. So I'm sort of fighting with the weather a little bit on that one, but I'll figure it out in the end. Build-wise, I'm snap building Barbatos at the moment, hence why I chose Mika. I think mainly most of that was just finishing up Ep.0, and I wanted to get that done and on display. And I'm also doing a custom. I've been talking about doing a custom for a long while. So this is my first custom GunPla. I'm no stranger to painting builds coming from Warhammer, but it's definitely different. They're on a different scale, and what I want out of this one is totally different to what I want out of my my Warhammer figurines in the past. It's no surprise, it's literally my test bed. So I picked up a Victory 2 Vercar, and the idea was to just practice water slides, top coat it. But then I was talking to Ahmed, Fault Zero, I know you guys know him on Instagram, right? He sort of bullied me, peer pressured me into doing my black on black custom that I've been talking about since forever. And I did try making it a black on black custom, but my one black paint, my one gloss black turned out horrible. So it's just matte black all the things right now. So it's going to be matte black Victory 2.0 with highlights and details and a little bit of weathering. And so far I've done a few little pieces, and I'm happy with how they've come out. So I'm just going to do that in the background as time goes on, and I'm still going to stick the water slides on it, and then we'll see maybe a top coat over that as well, depending on how it all turns out and how I like the look of it or not. So that's what's going on with me. All I can say is a massive thank you to you guys for turning up, and not just here today, but on all of it, just being there, whether it's a question or ideas or motivations. I think a lot of the things that you heard today are things that are already in the works. There's plenty more behind the curtain. You don't have to worry about that. There's no end to any of this at all. There's no end. There's our money and time will end before our ideas end. That's all I will say. As with everything else in my life at the moment,
yeah,
it makes me so happy to be able to have people that I can talk to about this, because my tie is still atrocious, and my prospects of having an in-person community are less than zero. So being able to jump on here or jump on Instagram and just be able to talk about stuff I enjoy is special, and I just wanted to say thank you for that, guys. And thank you for everyone watching as well, because I'm sure all of you, I've talked to at one point or another as well, and it's great. This is what it's all about. And I just wanted to try and put back a little bit, try and make our own little bit of a space, or make my own little bit of a dent in the community as well. So again, thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
Couldn't have said it better myself, man.